What's going on, people? About to get it cracking. So make sure we good here. Get all our levels up. You know what I mean? Got a special guest coming through. You know how we do Brooklyn style, baby. Bringing you another King of New York. 2011, baby. You're going to show and prove. Tell his story. And let the world know why he was chosen as 2011's King of New York. And we're going to let it out of the bag in a few. Make sure our levels are straight. We all hooked up, ready to go. I'm excited, man. I haven't been away for a minute, but I'm back. After this show, we'll have 10 more shows till we finish up season 2. So I'm definitely excited going into season 3. Can't wait. It's going to be epic for sure. You know, growing my beard back in because over the pandemic, you know, I had to do it myself. So I had to let it go a little bit, but we're going to let it come back in, you know, get it right. So, about to get the things cracking, the few on Instagram. I'm about to start the show. You know, I always do. Got to start it off right. That's what made everything happen, baby. This round ball. So we back at it. Oh yeah, we back. Welcome to Basketball Heads Live. I'm your host, Glenn Pooh Harding. And tonight, we have a very special guest. This basketball head is a former King of New York City. That's right. In 2011, the city was his. Relatively unknown to everyone who didn't see him play, but to those who did, they knew he was a star in the making. Unlike most New York City studs, he didn't go to a powerhouse high school, nor was he highly touted. But when he went away to college and then overseas, he came back with a vengeance. I don't know if that was his intentions of taking over New York City basketball, but that's exactly what happened. He played his high school ball at Transit Tech before moving on to Sage Community College. And then he played at Eckerd College, a Division II school in Florida. Remember, it's not about where you go, D1, D2, or D3, as long as you come out a success. And that's exactly what he did. He became a member of both schools' Hall of Fame, proving he earned his way through sheer hard work. After college, he took his talents overseas. We're going to talk about his many stops and his great career that he had. But it would be his stint on the New York City legendary Nike team that proved he was one of the best players in New York City history. They called him the Purist because, unlike a lot of New York City guys, he could shoot that rock. You know, when you're a shooter, you know another shooter. and we give them respect. So without further ado, help me welcome to the show, Transit Tech great, Sage Community College, and Eckerd College fame inductee, the 2011 King of New York City, Greg, the Purist, Plummer.
Y'all ready? Yeah. You have just stepped into the world of chaos, where everybody goes hard. Come on. Go hard. Go hard or go home. Never back down. You gotta hold your own. Go hard. Go hard. East Coast, go hard. West Coast, go hard. Midwest, go hard. 30, up, everybody get online, buy your tickets, cause the game about to start. No time to kick in. Rush to your seat, step inside my arena. Lace up my sneakers, change up my demeanor. The coach put the plan together, gather the team up. We go hard, let no team come between us. We the reason why the Nets move to Medina. In the front row, lounging with my feet up. So walk through the tunnel, it's time to turn the heat up. This is my house, you can't defeat us. No way in hell, my niggas is gonna fail. When the crowd get involved, we go harder than y'all. And the ladies know we on the radio now, and we killing them. That's why they feeling us now. We hold it down like the Randy Wade and LeBron James. You can tell by the height that the stars came. Go hard, no time to stargaze. Illuminati motherfucker, this is our game.
So, what's happening, man? What's happening?
You got some bars on that.
Listen, brother, listen. I tell people all the time in my former life, I was an inspiring artist, man. And, you know, I never knew I would use the record for. I had the record for like almost 15 years, just sitting on my computer. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, what's up, man? Look, I'm glad to have you on. It's long overdue. And trust me, we're going to do a few of these, man, because after speaking to you that day, and, you know, just tapping in, we talked briefly, but just to hear we share some similarities in the game. And, you know, when I meet another student in the game, man, it just makes me proud and knowing how close we are, you know, and our families are. So this is awesome for me. I took a break for a minute because I wanted to, you know, we got like 10 more episodes before we finish up episode 200, right? And there's some things I wanted to do in season 3. So I kind of want to space out the last 10 before I finish up my last 200th show, man. And I'm glad we can rock out, man.
Yes, sir.
For sure, for sure.
Man, like you had some great songs. I was watching this like primetime TV.
Yo, I had Todd Davis on the other day, and he was just like, yo, you had Kedar Edwards on. I'm coming on. I was like, yo, I'm about to have Greg Plummer on too. So, you know.
Yeah. A lot of history that, especially my generation and after, don't know. Like even when my uncle was on, I was like, stuff I didn't know that I was blue. And I've been learning a lot about the history of New York City, and ain't nobody doing this. Nobody doing it like that. So I'm happy you started this. This is dope for us. Our culture need to be back in the spotlight because the Knicks are good again. You know what I'm saying? Like just on the national stage, everybody's talking about New York City ain't the Mecca no more. All that nonsense that ain't never gonna be true.
Right.
So like you having you building up the way you're doing is dope, bro. I'm just happy, just privileged. You know what I'm saying? Just blessed to be here.
Man, you earned your way, man. You know, it could have been an alley-oop because, you know, I came up under your uncle. Another one of your uncles, one of my close friends. It could have been a, you know, easy one. Like, you know, I'm going to do my guy a favor. But you earned your way, man. You earned your way just like all these other guys who came up here, man. And you did it the hard way, man. Like through sheer hard work. No, honestly. Yeah, man. A lot of people was giving that silver platter, man. Was giving that right, you know. And even though you come from a basketball family, it still was hard. It wasn't easy. Nothing was given to you.
Yeah.
You know.
That was as I got older, I realized that was outside playing like any other kid. You know what I'm saying? Like play football every weekend, every Sunday after school, and every after school on Sundays too. Like just outside playing football all day long. Like I wasn't taking ball serious like everybody else. I mean,
Yeah.
Reebok was like my age group. Think about from the 4th, 5th grade up until right when high school started. Reebok was the hub for a lot of top players. You got look, Mike lived right up the block. I swear. You had Chad was just as good as Mike, but younger. Shaheem and all of Eric, Shaheem, like they right there.
Yeah.
We all in Reebok playing ball every day. And I was out of the whole group, I was the worst one. I was one of the worst ones. One of the worst ball players. I couldn't get on the court. They wouldn't let me on. We the same age. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it wasn't like, I had the advantage because Reebok is an intense basketball learning environment. Everybody did this already. So when something's wrong with your game, you're gonna hear it from 10 people before you get to the building. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, special place, man. You're right.
It's just different. No neighborhood. Probably near Rucker. Up there in that area or any area in New York City that has the basketball tournament that you can get that with everybody who around in the neighborhood. And Reebok is one of those places where everybody know the game. You're getting conversation that's better than ESPN. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't get conversation about ball like that nowhere.
That's real, man. We trying to bring it back, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I need that. Like I was just I snuck in last week. I was on my way. We already had this trip planned for a little while now. I was on my way to Brooklyn on Tuesday. I was driving from Pittsburgh on Tuesday, when I got the news about Diggs. And I was just like, man, like I couldn't wait to get to the Colo and just walk around. I got a chance to sit in the Colo by myself for like a good 15 minutes. Like that's my place. Anybody know me from Reebok know that I probably put more hours in the Colo than anybody in history ever, just by myself, working out by myself. You know what I mean? And that's like, I just got a chance to sit there by myself in the Colo, just to see what it felt like again, just to be there by myself. Bro, when I say I got the recharge button going into coaching this season, and got my motivation for the season. Like I'm ready now. Ready.
And that's I guess the legacy that Mr. Diggs wanted to leave behind. We all know that he didn't create the Brevoort Coliseum. He did not build it. But what he did was he made it a place where we all can have a place to go to when we go outside, a safe environment where we could go, learn how to play, earn our stripes, and also be protected by the community.
It's wild because I played ball. I continue to play ball because of Diggs. You know what I mean? Like Diggs was throughout my entire life. Like Diggs tried to get me into Bishop 4 with Trev went. Not with Trev, but with Trev. Diggs tried to get me into Bishop 4. Like me and my mom went to Bishop 4 before I got into high school. Did the whole tour, sat down with the coach and everything. But she just didn't feel as if that was the place for me. Not because of what Bishop 4 was or they fell short for anything, but she understood me at that time. I didn't show her what I needed to show to be in that environment. They would have chewed me up. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't serious about it. I wasn't trying to kick the door open and go hoop all the time at that particular time. So she knew going into high school, she was like, nah, this ain't right. Because I know what's gonna happen to you. He ain't ready. Not ready to be in a basketball intense environment. Like I only played a year and a half of ball at Transit. I didn't play my freshman or sophomore year. I played all of my junior year because I'm being silly in school. And the first half of my senior year, I was suspended. So I didn't really hoop in high school as much as I should have. You know what I mean? And I wasn't being serious. That's why people, I know my uncle got this a lot. Like, yo, why you ain't put your nephew here? Why you ain't? My junior year when we played against Robeson, and I hit 2 threes on Mike Sherrod. And then after, like in the beginning again, I start the game on right on Mike. they subbed him out, yelling at him. After the game was over, they blew us out. They smacked us. But after the game was over, I met Mace for the first time. I was like, Mace, what up? Like, you know, I'm Greg, my uncle, Earl Robinson. Yo, the look that he gave me was like, what? What you mean? Like, yeah, Earl Robinson's my uncle. It's like, wait till I, man. Like, and that was the reaction from him.
Right.
That was the reaction from Lovelace. That was the reaction that, like, for the next 10, 15 years of my life, I ain't go around saying Earl Robinson, my uncle. I want my own space. Like, you know, I don't want no preferential nothing. I want my own space. Like, I already know everybody know my uncle, so I ain't telling nobody. I'm gonna wash everybody here until y'all figure out that that's my uncle. Then when y'all realize it, like, oh, all right, respect that. Like,
well, and you didn't start off pretty good to be bragging that Earl was your uncle. You know what I'm saying? So you had to keep that on the low. Okay? So you did the right thing. Yeah.
So the thing is, I go to transit, and my mom's like you. Like, it was you're not going to the high. You're not going to Robeson.
Facts.
My parents knew me. They knew me. They knew that I was just a bat out of hell waiting to just, you know what I'm saying? And she was like, no, you're getting away from Reboy where you're uncomfortable. Like, you do best when you're uncomfortable. You have to go somewhere else. So they sent me out to East New York. I tell you what, though, when Transit Tech is trying to get kids to come to the school, they do a good job at lying to parents and telling them how good of an academic school Transit Tech actually is. They do a good job. Like,
Right.
They sold us. They sold my parents like, oh, you gonna work for Transit? You gonna make this much bread with the league? And that's what we thought, right? Going into whatever. But anyway, they wanted me to go outside. You know, it was either Transit Tech or Brooklyn Tech. I probably would have been better off going to Brooklyn Tech. But even still, my mindset at the time, like, you know, Brooklyn Tech was a serious basketball
academic school. Okay.
Academics wasn't a problem in the beginning.
Right.
It wasn't a problem in the beginning. Freshman, sophomore year, academics was never a problem. But later on, it became a problem because I started feeling myself, started doing stuff I'm not supposed to do. Academics became the issue. But even still, with a year and a half of work playing at Transit, I was playing with, in the summertime, going after my junior year, leading into my senior year, I was playing with, I don't know if you know him, but Theo Perry. You know that name? Theo Perry out in East New York.
Okay. Who? Say it again. Oh, my bad. Kind of paused there. My bad. Sorry about that. Yeah. No. I never heard of him. No, I never heard of him.
So Theo used to coach a team. The name of his team was called Rise Above. Theo was from East New York in Transit.
Okay.
And Lavelle Nimmons, that went to Rowe, lived in East New York. So I knew Love from playing against Robeson my junior year. Like, yo, you go to Transit, come hoop with us over here. Like, come hoop with us in ISA. Come hoop with us in what's the name of this tournament out in Queens? We are Almighty Force.
Okay.
We would go out in Queens and play, you know, but ISA was like the one tournament that we got the most exposure in. ISA is how I got into it. So I didn't have no offers from nowhere. I have nothing. I had Sage, and I got one phone call from Colgate after I played against Riverside against Old Cook, and I played one game.
Colgate, yeah.
From Colgate.
Yeah.
Yo, who are you, and talk to me. What's up? He's like, tell me your GPA. I told him. He's like, tell me your SAT score. I could have taken the SAT more times, but I procrastinated, being silly, waiting too many times.
And Colgate's like an Ivy League school. Colgate's like an Ivy League.
Intellectually, that's where I belong.
Yes.
Emotionally, maturity-wise, I'm in Colgate. So he understood. He's like, what's your SAT score? I told him. He's like, how many times you took it? Once. Like, when? I was was like, the last time. He said, so you waited all this time to take the SAT score? Like, I'm getting chastised. Like, immediately, like, just, I was like, yeah. He's like, all right, well, good luck with everything. Click. It's like, oh. I was hurting. Like, that hurt me. Because I'm like, I've been hooping all over the place, going on tournaments now. I'm in basketball. I'm full on in. And I got one. I wanted to go D1. I got that one. And we hung up on boom. So I'm hurt, right? Go downstairs. I go to the center because Diggs had the center open. So I go downstairs. I was like, Diggs, they'll never guess what just happened. He was like, well, I was like, yo, Colgate called me. He's like, yeah, what happened? Hung up on him. He's like, your grades, huh? I was like, yeah, man. Like, he said, I told you. He said, now what you gonna do? I was like, I had no choice. I gotta go up to this school, up in Albany. I had no choice. I had nothing else. I'm definitely not gonna stay in Greenwood, just sitting around doing nothing. No way I'm going. Thankfully, I realized that everything that was about to happen going into my freshman year, Uncle Sully passing away. You know how close me and was. I was like, my Uncle Sully is like, in that house that they grew up on Bainbridge Street, he was the youngest sibling. And he's close in age with my sister, Janice, and my brother Fella. So he was like my older brother.
Mm-hmm.
He was like my oldest brother. So when my brother was picking on me or my sister was, he kept them in line. He was like my oldest brother. He was like my closest relative my entire life leading up to him. So when he passed away, I was in the right spot, exactly where I needed to be, with coaches that understood the situation and were willing to go through that with me. And they saw the potential, and they saw exactly what I could be. So they was on my ass. Since the day I walked in the door, I had no breathing whatsoever. None.
So let's go back a little bit, G.
Go ahead.
Who introduced you to the game?
I would say my first introduction to ball was just being a kid watching the tournament from afar. I couldn't go nowhere near the Coliseum. That was off limits. So I used to play right in front of my building on Fulton, right there in front of the building, and just peeking over, listening to the whistle, They're so intrigued. The seed was planted a long time ago. Anytime I got a chance to go to the Coliseum. First time I played in Biddies, Pete was my coach.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Rick was on the deal with me, Rick, Hots from my building, Quasar, all of us was on the same team. But I was the youngest one on the team. Never made a basket, cried every time we lost. We lost every game. I cried after every game. I never played basket, never got in the game, but I cried every time we lost. So I was like, I was hooked from that point on.
Right.
The seed was planted a long time ago. You go to the Coliseum, my uncle would come through, and like my uncle came through, I got a chance to go to the Coliseum. And my mom's like, well, but she wasn't crazy about it. She wasn't really into it like that.
Right.
Just being in that environment, hearing the sounds, the whistle, like I'm coming outside, I hear that whistle, and I'm in the house. I'm itching. I gotta go outside. I want to go. So while I hear it in the Colo, I'm in the park playing by myself, just messing around, playing by myself. So that was my first intro to basketball. There was only two things that was consistent my entire life: Colo and the fact that my mom's like the Knicks. So if the Knicks was on late, I got a chance to stay up late. Like just those two things was my basket that planted the seed for me, and I was hooked since then.
Wow, good introduction, man. So,
yeah, no, right?
who was the best player when you was coming up? Like, who was the best player everybody was talking about? Trev
was the man, like, because it was Trev. Trev used to come through with Nolan all the time.
Yeah.
So Trev, I always looked up to Trev, like my older brother. That's my man, like brother. You know what I mean? I watched Trev, how Trev shoot. Like, I would go try to shoot like Trev in the park. You know what I'm saying? Like, Trev was, and all the stuff that he was doing, like, paper stuff, everybody, Trey before him, and that whole group, and that whole age group was all hoop. So it wasn't like it was just him. He was the best one of his, because he was younger than some of the other guys that just finished hooping in that age group. So he was like him and Nolan would always come through, and I would see them, and I'd be like, yo, I want to be like them. I want to hoop. Like Trey had the ball player walk. They come through playing everywhere else in the city. Like I knew I wanted to do it earlier.
Yeah, that's a great model to have, man. Trey, Great ball player, accomplished a lot, and still doing this thing to today. So salute to Trey. Trav. Yes, definitely. When did you start to take the game seriously?
I would say around 16. When Sully got real sick, you know, we had a real conversation, like a real heart-to-heart conversation about me. And, you know, that's when I kind of knew that his time was coming. It's like, I want to play as much ball as I can. I want to see me hooping. You know, one of the things before he passed, he was like, yo, you know, it's crazy because it wasn't like he was an old man, young. So for him to have the perspective that he had before he passed away about me, you know, he's like, I know you're gonna be okay because of what I've seen from you these past couple of years. Like how serious I was about. I was like, man, I crammed 15 years of basketball into like 3 or 4 years. You know, leading into college included, I crammed so much basketball in such a short period of time that going into college with only a year and a half of basketball, like maybe 2 years of basketball, when I left, I was a pro. I was a pro when I left college too. There was no doubt about it. Like the way that I worked out, the way that I trained, all that stuff, I was a pro. You know, and just because my first opportunity to be in a real basketball environment was like as far as weight room and everything, because we ain't had none of that in JUCO. We just had great coaches who understood the game and how to get us ready for a season, and taught us how efficient to be in practice and all that stuff. But when I left there, my first strength and conditioning program, my first real training with the Eckerd when I got down there, because they just coming off of the Elite 8 appearance in D-II, which ain't no slouch. They good enough to beat 50% of the Division I schools out there. So I get down there and I'm like, man, I'm gonna get on the court. Like this is real. I gotta be a straight up role player. I was like, you know what? I gotta get on the court. So I'm from New York. We could pick up full court. I'm picking up everybody that scored full court. You know, that's how I got on the court. Next, my senior year, it was tough for me to get out of that role playing into scorer. So I need to get attention. So it wasn't until the last 8 to 10 games of my senior year that I really started tearing it up. Like I was averaging like 34, 35 my last 10 games of the season, including the two national tournament games against like Montevallo and Florida Gulf Coast. I had like 34 and 16 against
Damn.
the Gulf Coast. I killed it going into the tournament. Like, and then after that, like I never stopped. I just kept, you know. And then after I graduated college is when I met that team.
All right, hold on. Let's slow down. Because I want to walk through this step by step, man.
The timeline is a lot.
No, we're gonna come back, and we're gonna come back to it. What was that first game like?
In college?
Ever. Your first game. I like to talk about this because, you know, it's the first time when we see the referees, either the crowds of the game, and it's a lot going on. How was your experience?
First of all, I'm going to say I knew it was time to let go of basketball, but I no longer felt that. I no longer felt that in my stomach.
Yes.
I knew it was time to stop. But my first time playing, bro, I remember till this day. We had the sky blue uniforms and biddies with the white numbers. Bro, my legs would lock up. I couldn't run. I was nervous. Referee, the whistle, everything scared me. Everything. That's why I was hooked. I knew I was hooked because it overwhelmed me. It was a challenge always. So that
made you uncomfortable.
Made me comfortable. And that's my environment.
Yes.
Basketball still to this day presents all kind of uncomfortable things for me. And I want to learn everything about it so that I'm no longer uncomfortable. It presents all kind of challenges. On and off, everything associated with the game is what I loved about it. All the things that made me want to learn more, want to train more, figure out ways to be better. Like, you know, there's this saying, like, you train away your insecurity. You know, knowing that other guys are training, all that stuff, that's what kept me in the game for so long. Even still to this day, like, you know, I'm starting fresh as a coach. And I know coach has been doing it longer, but I know I have more basketball information. So it's like that's what keeps me coming, just the competitive part of it, just the you know.
Yeah, speaking of that competitive part, what player that you played against early on that you knew, damn, I gotta get better? Who was that player?
As an early kid was Mike. Mike was on my team. Trey was our coach. They had to move it
To my Mike Williams.
No, Mike Boyd.
Mike, oh, excuse me. You're right about that. You're right. Mike a little bit younger. That's right. Mike Boyd, yes, Oklahoma State coach. Was he really, really good? Because I saw he was all city.
Bro, Mike was good for a long time. If Mike, for whatever reason, Mike stopped growing. He was 6 feet in the 6th grade.
Right.
That's how does that happen?
That's right.
In the 6th grade, with handle game, everything. Mike had everything. Now Mike and Chad James. Remember Chad? Mike and Chad was like two of the best young prospects still to this day. Like Mike, if you could insert Mike Boyd and Chad now, it would drag everybody in New York City at that age. Like,
Wow.
But I've seen coaching all over the place, internationally, nationally, coaching still to this day. Those guys were so good at basketball. Like it was like watching a fish swim with them. But physically, like if you don't progress physically, the game won't catch up with you. And Mike was still great. Went to start for 4 years in South Carolina. But if Mike would have kept growing, 6'6", 6'8", man, he would have been the guy. Mike would have been the guy in New York City that everybody's talking about.
Wow.
As a ball player, not just as a coach. Like he would have been crazy talent.
Yeah, he's about to do some great things at Oklahoma State too. So
big time. So it worked. His gift wasn't his physical.
Yes.
It wasn't physical for him. It was always up here and then here. You know what I mean? That's his gift. Because what he's showing now is that your second act. You know what I mean? It's all about who you are as a person and what you bring to the table. Game don't define you. You can
That's
think
right.
whatever you want to think. That's dope. I love seeing there's only one team that I truly follow in the NCAA, and that's him. Like I follow Mike and what he's doing out there.
Yeah, I do it as well. Just the fact that he's from Brooklyn and he's connected to so many people.
He ain't from Brooklyn, he's from my hood, up the block.
Yeah, I know, right? And he's connected to everyone, so you got to support that. Now, I want to touch back on something some more because the one thing that everyone said when they talk about his coaching style was that all the kids bought in to what he was trying to do with them, right? So you could coach. There's a lot of people who coach and they do it because, they want to give back to their community, but he was dead serious about what he was doing. And the fact that it resonated throughout people in the community saw the effect that he had on you guys.
Right. Him and Trey. My uncle was the first time I won that little championship in Biddies. Him and Trey was coaching the team. Right? So him as my uncle, he understood like, all right, Grad's getting better. I don't want to put him in situations where like it'll tear up his confidence. So, but anytime I was feeling myself, he let me rock. I don't want to call you feeling yourself. You're not playing the way you're supposed to play. Stay out because you're gonna keep messing up. And as you mess up, I'm gonna sit you down. You don't like being sat down. So he had the same thing for everybody. So I played with Mike first, won a chip with him and Biddies, and then the next year I played with Chad, and I knew how to be a number 2. I was like Scotty Pippen. I knew how to be a number 2. And I started understanding early. We would literally talk about Biddy games after the game. We talked about the things that happened during the game. Like we talked about basketball theory and all of that type of stuff that you don't necessarily get as a kid. We're not gonna just go out and play. We're not gonna do that. We're not just gonna go out and just run up and down the court when we got refs and it's official and it's organized. You have to think about your moves and the things that you do. Earl, same deal. Like my uncle Earl come to one of my games like when I was in high school. Or he get kicked out the gym. He got kicked transfer because he was yelling at me so much. But I wasn't thinking, like, you know what I mean? So my whole defense to everything has always been, you're never gonna outsmart me. I'm gonna always figure out how, if somebody's more physically gifted, I'm gonna figure out how to guard him, I'm gonna figure out how to slow him down. But on the other end, he's not gonna figure out how to stop me from getting my shot off. Just thinking about where I fit on a team, where I belong, and how I can help it move the way it's supposed to. And that's my gift. It wasn't physically. I was a freak athlete for this amount of time in my life when I started really training to be. So I was like, but I got this. And most players I know, like any coach would tell you, like when it comes down to like watching film, X's and O's, like I had it. My gift is here. It's not everything else. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I want to give a shout out to my guy, Eric Reaver, my guy, Ref One. He's everywhere. Definitely.
I'm bumping that game more than anybody in New York City.
Yes, he's everywhere. Yes.
Everywhere.
If there's a big event, he's there. I don't know how I missed that Rucker event that happened. I had so much going on this past weekend. They had an awesome Rucker event up there. Yeah. So your uncle, right? He used to always try to get me to the games. And this, at the time, when you guys was coming up, I was back and forth from Jersey, living in Jersey. Got to see some of the games. But we would talk more about the games than me actually seeing him coach. I think I saw him coach maybe 2 or 3 times, and I was at one championship game.
Yeah.
But we hung out so much because every time I would touch down, that would be my guy. What's up? And he would, fill me in to what you guys was doing in the progress. Didn't know he had such great players on his team, right? And he never talked about individuals. Like, he never said, yo, G, I got this one player who's better than everybody else. It will always be about the team. And that's the kind of person that he was because, he wasn't out here jocking no one in real life. So, and if he gave you love, he gave it to everyone. So everyone got the same kind of love. So I knew the kind of coach he was.
Like like how much he loved ball, not just basketball, he loved sports.
Yeah. He played everything. We played everything.
He was one of those guys, right? He could tell you every stat, every team, every player, like right now, Monk was alive, probably like king of fantasy, everything.
Yes, definitely.
Every single player on every team and what they were capable of contributing to the team in every sport. Like, it's crazy. I'm like, damn, how you know all this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, still to this day, I'm not that type of person. Like, but him, I think about that. I'm like, he really knew, like, the 49ers and everything basketball. That was his thing, and that's why I got my passion from basketball from him. Like, that was, my Uncle Earl was the basketball achiever in the family, so I always looked up to him because of that. But my Uncle Sully he loved it. Like, his older brother was Earl, so he loved it so much. And him coaching, he wasn't a good ball player. He had the sideways, he had the Lonzo ball.
Listen, your uncle was the hustler. He was the dude we picked that we knew was going to play defense, was going to be scrappy, dive on the floor. Sully did all the dirty work. So I would love to pick him. It was easy. And he'd be like, yo, come to the park. He already know we going to win because I'd be like, yo, come on, son. We good.
Yeah. He was gritty.
Yes. Definitely one of my favorite people. Now, who was your coach in high school? Who was the coach there?
George Vernal. He was the U.S. assistant. He was convenient coach. It wasn't until Peraza.
He was an educator. He was an educator. Just like my guy, this wasn't my guy, the coach down in Westerhouse with Joe Green, Joe Jackson, Keith Stroud. And I used to always find it hard that we would beat Westinghouse, and they were so much better than us. And it's not until I get older to realize that we have Bobby Hartstein, one of the greatest coaches in New York City, and they had a history teacher with a bunch of good players.
That's what we had. Transit Tech is an all-boys school. It's like four girls. Like it's not a lot of girls in it. And no joke. When you see what happened when they got a real basketball coach.
Yes.
Barrazo took over. All of a sudden, you got two D1 kids on team. You got kids going through. Like you see.
They were just winning championship at the championship. They ran the B division. Yes.
Yeah, but and that was the case. If we had a real coach, if he understood, if we had a guy that understood how to get guys ready, prepared, and had a basketball culture at Transit, bro, my senior year we was competing with Robeson. Like we lost the road by like 2, and we like, you know what I mean? Like that's with Gary and them. Like that's
because they had great players and a great coach. You can have all the players in the world. If you don't come to battle with a good coach, a good leader, you're gonna fall behind.
Yeah, you handicapped. There's no way you could, man. So that was like I left high school craving to be in a basketball environment because I didn't know what it was like. I wanted to be a part of a real team with real coaches. And when I went up to JUCO I was at, that's the first time I've been on a team with guys that really genuinely love basketball. They really wanted to hoop. You know what I'm saying? There was guys from New York City that didn't have anything else but nowhere else to go. But it was a lot of us. Guys that Queens, guys that was from Bronx, like guys that weren't good enough to go other places at that time. But we was all there together. We all loved ball. So all we did was hoop, watch film, watch basketball all day long. That's all we did was an intense basketball learning environment. That's when I left and I went down to Eckerd. That's what I was craving. At the time, Eckerd just had, like it's Florida. You could get athletes. There's athletes in Florida working at 7-Eleven. Everybody is freaky athletic and big down there. You know what I'm saying? So, but it wasn't the same type of culture as far as loving basketball that it was when I was at JUCO.
Well, was it a good fit for you? Was it a good fit for your playing style?
I feel like I would say yes and no. Yes, because of everything I learned about basketball down there, as far as like how coaches are supposed to be. Great coach, great everything. But as far as guys being pushed to the max and completely maximizing potential of everybody, my coach, he was about giving guys a well-rounded college experience, not creating a culture of where guys who want to be pros come.
How was your football team?
We didn't have one. It's a small school. I went.
See, and I always say maybe all the focus on the football team because Eric was like, we know that Florida down there is it's a football state, and you got patches of basketball there, but mainly a football state.
But in Division II, Sunshine State Conference, that is the conference. Because you think about it, Barry University, Florida Southern University, who both won national championships in the last 5-6 years. Rollins College, Eckerd College will make it every year. You got one representative from the conference going to Final Four or Elite 8. That's better than every other conference in the country.
Wow.
Other than all the other schools that's already making their way to go Division I, so they're recruiting Division I players. But that conference down there, that conference has teams that haven't left, haven't gone anywhere. Those teams have stayed in the conference and they compete. At a perfect example, we played my first game at Eckerd. We played my first game my senior year. Our very first game, we played the Gators, right? With David Lee, Corey Brewer, Noah, all of them, Al Horford, all of them. We played them my senior year. This was their third game, and this was our first game. We went in by 7 at halftime. 7 at halftime. I ain't never seen a game change 3 refs at halftime in my life. Nowhere. Nowhere. They came out with a whole new referee crew at halftime. We were up 7 against David Lee, Noah.
Y'all couldn't protest that? Where they get them from? Were they already in the building?
I don't know, but it was different staff at halftime. They ref different.
That's crazy.
They came out and got like straight foul calls. We ain't getting the bonus until like the last 3 minutes of the second half.
Welcome to college athletics. That's crazy.
He was up 7 at halftime against all those All-Americans and pros and future NBA players that they had on that team. We up 7 at halftime. So that goes to show you what kind of potential we had as a Division II team. That team that we had down there, we were supposed to go to national championship. Easy. Because size-wise, we matched up the same as them. We had all of the same bodies, the same whatever. And you know, I ended the game like 15-7 and like 5 against them. So I already knew where I belonged. I was comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So like when I left Eckerd, I knew it was time to start. I knew I was a pro. Like you couldn't tell me nothing. I just did what I did against these guys in the last 10, 12 games of the season. I'm tearing the show up. I'm tearing everything up. I already knew. And that's what I just never looked back from that point.
Salute to BG. He said you're one of the best shooters of all time in New York City history. Top 10. Let's talk about that, man. Where did you start working on your shot?
I'm competitive. I need a top 9 list. I need a top 9 list, so it got to be validated. Now I started working out in the park, playing the Colo by myself, like I said, around 15. I just went outside. I just started shooting. And then Trev, like I was in high school, that's when Trev came back home after he graduated. He was waiting, overseas, like in limbo sometimes. And Trev would be home. Trev would snatch me up like, yo, we're going to go work out. Take me to St. John's, go work out. And just, I learned how to shoot, how to do certain stuff from him. So I would, like I said, my gift is that I take stuff from all the guys that I'm close to. Everybody I'm close to, any guy that has been older than me, that's played on the team with me, or any close environment with me, they know that I stole stuff from them. Like Mike Campbell will tell you that straight up from playing with X-Men. I stole the whole bag from him. But as far as shooting goes, like Trev, not good at shooting Trev. But, you know what I'm saying? So I watched Trev shoot. I watched how the ball went up in the air. I watched how the ball dropped. I watched everything from how high you jump, everything. I watched everything. And I watch basketball. Like I study basketball different than a lot of guys. Like I watch, being that my profession and my job is training and movement. I'm educated in movement, like how the body works and how it's supposed to move efficiently. So now that's just a sidestep from what I've been doing for 20 years in my life, just watching guys, how they move, how they run, how they position their body to do what. I watch Trev shoot. Trev ain't nobody around. I'm going out. I'm trying to mimic exactly what's done, how the ball is going in. I try to mimic, and that's all I did. I never had a shooting coach in my life ever. I just went out and I learned stuff from watching people talk about basketball. I never went to basketball camp ever a day in my life. Never went to basketball camp. Never had somebody say, "Come here, I'm gonna show you how to shoot." No, never. I watched Michael Jordan do this, and I went outside and I tried to mimic it. And until I got to college, where they was talking about, I got some tweaks here and there. My coach told me like, "Yo, ball is flat, or arc on it, you do this." But I used to jump high as hell just to get my shot up. And I stopped that once guys started sliding up under me. I promise you, I'd have averaged 40 if they was calling that in college. If I was getting those calls,
definitely.
I'd average 40. You know what I'm saying? But I just watched people, mechanics and coaches here and just gave me little pointers, and I took it and ran with it. And I worked at it. I just kept doing it until it became natural. I shot so many shots that it's like I understood how to get my shot off against guys, how to shoot when you don't have space, how to get it off quicker, and I mastered it. I just mastered it.
Yeah, I tell kids, who I'm coaching, and I want to fix their shot. I'll just use my little cousin, for example. My little cousin, Man. He plays for Jefferson. He's very, very good. But of course, just like most of our New York City guards, the jump shot's not there. So I told him I can help him with it when he's ready on his own time. But what I told him is it's going to take you some time, right? And people who are really good jump shooters, you know, it's probably going to take you like a year just to get your shot down pat and then figure the mechanics later. And a lot of people don't want to go through that process. When I was in 9th grade, I used to shoot like Jamal Wilkes, who used to play for the Lakers. And when I got to Lincoln, my coach was like, yeah, that's not going to work. Even though it would go in. But he would tell me, you're never going to get that shot up. And changed my shot. And it was frustrating. Like, and I don't think if it was for my guy, Carlton Silk Owens, he was like the star of the team, then he would just tell me, he was like, yo, G, it's a mental process you're going through. But you got to, if you want to shoot like me, and that was the great thing, right? You had the older guard telling the younger guard, if you want to shoot like me one day, you listen to coach and you follow the steps. And that was the stamp for me to keep going because, you know, we didn't have no trainers or anyone to work out with. And it wasn't until the middle of my sophomore year when it was just like, oh, now I see what they're talking about.
Yeah. I feel like for me, it was like I had a couple guys that I watched shoot. And I'm like I watched one of my favorite players to watch as a Knicks fan. I know it's flashy. One of my favorite players to watch was Reggie.
Who?
And that's because Reggie Miller.
Yes, definitely.
Reggie Miller is the most unique shooter of all the shooters in NBA history because the shots that he makes are coming full speed going across.
Yes.
Like he's going across the court like this, and he's catching it, he's hitting it while he's still going full speed. Steph is the greatest shooter of all time because he does all of it. He does everything. Spot, moving without the ball, all of that. He does everything.
Steph Curry you talking about. Because people in New York City may think you're talking about Steph Marbury, even though he had a nice jump shot too.
Steph Curry is the best shooter of all time.
Yes, I agree.
All the different styles of shooting, spot shooting, you know, shooting with guys in your face, shooting, moving without the ball, catch and shoot. He's the best. He does it all across the board. Ray Allen, catch and shoot. Not so much moving without, like not going across the court.
No.
Ray Allen, you know what I'm saying?
He's more spot up. You're going to catch it, make sure he's in the spot before he even take his shot.
And I wanted to learn how to do what Reggie did. And that's like, and I realized how athletic you got. Reggie's 6'7", 6'8". Like, so he doesn't have to jump as high as I had to jump to do that. So in the beginning, all I knew how to do was pass and cut and shoot. That was it. Everybody knew I had suspect handle coming out of eyes. Throw it down, little cut, layup. All that, like, and New York City basketball players don't like guard guys that play like that. They don't.
Isn't that crazy?
They don't like playing guys that can do that. So I was like, all right, just pass, cut, layup, pass, cut, shot, pass, cut, coming off the ball, handoff, bucket. Like I was just moving nonstop. And any guy to tell you that played against me across the water, Canada, Mexico, wherever, I'm like this. I'm in better shape than you, and that's how I move.
Right.
I'm going back door, I'll come back up. Like you give me a little bit of space, but I'm moving so much. So that's what I feel like the element that I brought to the table as a shooter that a lot of guys in New York City cannot do. I haven't seen guys do it on a consistent basis like me. See a lot of guys pull up, dribble, pull up, shoot. Seen a lot of guys spot up, but as far as the movement without the ball and shooting together, I'm one of one in New York, and I ain't seen nobody else do that. And Reggie was my guy. I love watching Reggie. I hated it, big fan, but I watching Reggie the whole time. How he moving, cutting, all that. I still 8-10 points a game from cutting.
Because guys looking for, the guys looking for the oohs and the ahs. They're looking for the nice move. They're looking for the crowd reaction. Yeah. No, I know that at the end of the game. Yes. Yep.
Right. I'm going to continue. There's nothing you can do about this 40 that's about
Let's talk about like the transition, right? From leaving Eckerd. What did you do and who attention did you get to get over to Luxembourg?
Just from, my coach, my agents hovering around the program and everything, like as far as, like after the season's over, like, all right, you're a senior, so meet this guy, like an agent, blah 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 blah. And that's all I had. I was supposed to go to England first, but that didn't work out. So I ended up not going to Luxembourg until January. And I never went. They wanted me to come back, but I never went back because I felt like, at that time I was like, I need to progress. I don't want to come back to Luxembourg and do all that, and do this again. I feel like I would lose a year of experience. One American, like I'm not learning anything. You guys aren't helping me get better. I don't want to go back and be in that environment. If there was like at least a 2 American I could learn from, a vet, I could learn, from somebody else other than, I'm 21 and I'm one of the oldest guys on the team. That ain't gonna work.
Yeah, you got especially in that situation too, right? You ain't no veterans, no one to learn from, and you're in a new country. Yeah.
So I came home, and the following year, Titania had got the ABA job, the Strong Island team.
Yep.
And at the time, like ABA was just like, just basically like, like club travel team type thing situation. But the starting five, let me tell you who our starting five was in the beginning of the season. It was Luke Thomas waiting for his deal to come so he can leave and go hoop. Me, Mike Campbell waiting for his deal so he can leave.
Wow.
Darren Phillip waiting for his contract negotiation because DP was like top dollar back then, right? And Tommy Eddie. I was averaging 30.
With all those guys, you was the leading scorer on that team?
I was averaging 30. I was lights out. Every time I touched the ball, I was shooting 60% from 3. I was every time I touched the ball. And that was around the time where I was like, all right, this is getting real.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, then after that season, I went played in the USBL with the Brooklyn Kings. Went out and played in the playoffs in Kansas or whatever. I did well. We lost in the championship. Had Abdul Mills and Glover. I think Kyle Cuffer was on the team too. Like, guys just waiting for the deals to go wherever. And in between and the playoffs, they did like a 3-point contest. Right? So get 30 baskets. I hit 28 out of 30.
Woo!
In the 3-point contest. I had like 6 coaches like, yo, right now, put your name right here on the paper, right at Finland, Mexico, Sweet. I had other countries. All these coaches was there because the D-League, that's when a bunch of D-League guys, this season ended, so they hurry up and went to USBL to get the check.
Right.
So it's nothing but coaches there at the playoffs with USBL guys, a bunch of D-League guys, and just a bunch of D-League coaches. Watch me shoot 28 out of 30. I'm not realizing I made a name for myself as a shooter. They're like, yo, I know I didn't just watch somebody hit 28 out of 30 in the NBA 3 rap.
Right.
So Mexico was offering me the most bread, so I went there. Not realizing that I should have went to Finland, the longest season, to Europe, other Americans, more structured league, like at the time.
But you know that after the fact.
Right, I want the money. Like,
there you go.
More money, I'm going. But so I ended up playing with 2 guys that from that team. 2 guys made it to the league from that team. Gustavo Ayón and Squeak Johnson, who played at UAB.
Yep.
Part of that UAB team that went to the final, like Elite 8 final.
Yep.
He was the point guard for that team. So I played with these guys, and I was hooping. Halfway through the season, leading into playoffs, I break get hurt in Latin America, any country, where you going as soon as you get hurt?
Home.
They kept me for 2 months, paid me all my money, and I'm sitting on the side watching all these Americans coming in trying to replace me. They paid me all my bread. I'm sitting there in the cast in the back of the bench, sitting there, chilling, getting paid, waiting for them to try to find somebody else to replace me. All these guys they brought in was terrible. Bad. So the last guy they brought in, this is a month and 3 weeks. I'm almost at the 2 month mark. Month and 3 weeks they bring this guy in. I was like, oh, he alright. So now they looking at me funny like,
right.
So I ain't want to go home. I ain't want to go back to the board. I ain't want to go home. I was like, man, double take this up. I can practice. Double take this up so I can practice. Friday practice. So they're like, all right, they sent him home next week. But the problem was that I wasn't ready. Like I wasn't back to.
You did just enough to send him home, but not enough to be at the top of your game.
But what it did was it planted a seed because I got a chance to work with the trainer that they have on the team, one-on-one with him to see what real training was like. I had never had a trainer. I got a chance to work. This dude won a gold medal in the Olympics for wrestling from Cuba. I got a chance to work with him for a whole month and 3 weeks, rehabbing and training, getting my body right. That's planted the seed for me. And that's what I do now. Teaching movement, teaching guys how to really build their bodies up to prepare for a season. Like you think you in shape because you're hooping all summer, but do you know how to prepare for a season to get through? And I didn't know how to do that. That's why ever since that foot break, it's just one injury after the next, one injury after the next. So after I leave Mexico, I went to play with Michael Richardson in the CBA out in Oklahoma.
How was that experience? And salute to Marvin Robbins on the check-in.
Knicks fan, already know, like, I'm like, look at my phone, like, who? Sugar?
You know your mom, did you tell your mom? Did you tell your mother?
Yeah, I'm like, I can't wait to get out. Like, this dude's the craziest person I ever met. Like, but you're an all-star in the 80s. I want give me everything. Everything you have, all the information, everything. I want all of it. He was like, all right, you got to play point guard. What? Point guard? Well, I ain't never played point guard in my life. I don't dribble like that. I'm from New York because I got a little bit more than most guys that.
And your handle wasn't.
At that time?
Right. Okay.
Much better.
Okay, go.
Like, yeah, you need to play point guard. I ain't never do that before. I don't want to play no. Like, I'm going to teach you. I am going to teach you how to do this. The GM of the team, Otis Birdsong. Otis and Michael Ray is like, yo, you could get in there. You could slide in there in the league if you do this. You already playing, at the time, like I'm this is in my like NBA athleticism stage where I had it a little. I had enough to be in the mix. So he's like, yo, you gotta pick up 94 feet. Every point guard we play against, you gotta pick up. You 6'4", athletic, and you shoot the way you do, you'll be in the league in 2 years if you do this everywhere. Because you're not getting in the league to score. You can score, but you ain't getting in the league to score. You gotta do everything else.
Tell people, can you explain that? Because I don't think a lot of guys realize that. Because everybody think if I average 30 or 40, I'm going to the league. Really?
This is the second time I heard this. This is the second time I heard that statement. From playing for Kenny Charles in the USBL, he said it first. That's why I heard it. And then playing from these two guys who were Otis Birdsong and Michael Ray Richardson in the 80s. They were the goods in the 80s.
Yep.
They both said to me, if you ain't averaged 20 points in a Division I school, or you ain't Flip Murray at the time was in the league as a scorer, if you ain't Flip averaging damn near 50 in Division II, do not think you're coming into the league as a scorer. Because they got enough scorers.
Yep.
If you 18 years old and you ain't going straight to the league, out of high school, consider yourself to be the scorer. If you don't do that or average 20 plus in Division I school, they got their scorers on. You got to figure out how to do all the other stuff and be crazy efficient at doing it. It's like the way you shoot like you shoot like the white boys in Indiana shoot. He's like, ain't too many black people that shoot like that.
Yeah.
Craig Hodges was a coach in the CBA. He saw me shoot and he was like, damn, this is gonna be a problem. So he had me glued. He didn't give me no space that when he was coaching in the CBA. He know what it is. He seen me shoot 3 shots and was like, all right, yeah, you ain't getting no space. He said that straight up. I already know what it is. I was like, I don't need no space. You know what I'm saying? So they trying to teach me how to be enough of a point guard to steal a spot on a roster in the NBA, but still keep a lot of myself to where I can show that I have more value than a guy that's in the league playing point guard.
Right.
I learned a lot from that short period of time, but that ain't my thing. I don't do that. But I learned enough to go home and win a TOC playing point guard with X-Men up in uptown. But TOC, I was playing point guard. Everybody tell you, I was playing point. I hate playing point guard, but I did it. You know,
Do you think everybody else saw that except yourself?
They saw that I could think basketball. They saw that I had a good enough handle at the time to be able to protect the ball and see the court on a pro level. But they also understood that I shot the ball so well that I was always looking for an opportunity to get my shot off instead of distributing or running anything. I wasn't trying to do that. Picking up 94 feet at that time, cool. I got all the stamina in the world. I'm one of the only people that you'll see that can pick up 94 feet and then come back on offense, moving around and shot up, and can physically do it because I'm in shape. That was my gift. That was my niche. So it's like you have a niche. All these CBA guys and ABA and D-League guys, they don't have a niche yet. That's why they ain't getting in the league. So you got a niche. So you got to master this. So after that, I get drafted into the D-League draft, right? That's summer I go up to Toronto. I was gonna go. I wanted to play for the Toronto D-League team at the time. Was the who was that D-League team at the time? They were sharing a D-League team with the Trailblazers, and it was getting old, man. I can't believe I don't remember this. But anyway, they're sharing. Randy Livingston was the point guard.
How are two NBA teams sharing the?
Because not every team had a D-League team at the time.
Oh, so do they still do that?
No, every team has their own.
Okay.
But before, the teams were sharing D-League teams. Like before the Knicks had, they set up. They were like, whatever. But at the time, the team that I was trying out for had just came off the chip. They had won the chip the year before, and Brian Gates was the coach. So, I was talking with him directly, trying to.
Right.
I don't know how many guys are talking with the D-League coach directly and getting their stuff situated. But anyway, I went up there. I did the whole workout. I had a bunch of Division I guys up there, a bunch of guys up in Canada working out. We did one-on-one drill. 2 days in a row, one-on-one drill. I went through 28 people the first day. On a one-on-one drill, you get scored on, you go to the next. I went through 28 people. Next day, I went through 27. One out, yeah, fuck it. Take that, get out of it. Next, fuck it. Yeah, take that, get out of it. And you get the ball first, give me that. Fuck it, get out of it.
Did anyone catch on after a while? Like Daniel Duke could shoot.
Everybody, like after the first day, when I went back the second day to do the ones drill, everybody came over and was watching me do ones drill after that. So I'm thinking, all right, I'm good with them. I'm good. I know when I'm going, Sioux Falls picks me for whatever reason. And I didn't try out for Sioux Falls picks me. When I get to training camp to try out for the team, who's there? Gary Irvin, Gary Forbes, and Carl Elliott. 3 Brooklyn guys. 3. At the time, I didn't know, not realizing that Carl Elliott, the Elliott family, and my family were like this. So they like talking to each other, like Greg and Carl on the same team. And I'm like, and at the time, you know, the Brooklyn stigma. I'm like, man, they got
Right.
Brooklyn dudes on the same team. It ain't looking good. This ain't looking good.
Wow.
So I get out there and I realize that this is where politics hit, right? This is where like I was like, I realized that they really weren't letting me on the court to do drills. Like I had to like, yo, coach, why are we switching the drill? I ain't go yet. Like, can I go first? But then I had to. It was that type of situation. So they got 11 guys coming back plus G. Forbes, G. Irvin, and Jared Jeffrey's brother and the apology. I was like, yo, this is some bullshit. Like some real. They really not allowing me to compete against the team that was here. Like, let me compete.
Yo, let me talk. I'm gonna stop you for 1 second. They did that to Lenny Cook when Lenny Cook played for Boston Celtics. When they played Cleveland, they did not let him play.
So it's like, all right, I understood that. Like, all right, whatever.
Why are they doing that to you, G? Why do you think that was happening to you? Were they afraid you was gonna take somebody's spot?
If you're a coach in the D League and you got 11, 12 Division I guys from the top Division I schools on your roster, and then somebody from Sage College and Eckerd College come in,
I get it.
85% of the roster, you lose your damn job.
They did what Florida did to y'all. Got a whole new set of referees.
You'll lose your damn job if
Facts.
I lay an egg out there, right?
Facts.
I didn't understand that at the time, but he says to me when he cuts me, he says, "You're a starter in this league." So I said, how do you say that to somebody and you cutting them the first week? We're gonna let you go so that you can have an opportunity to sign with somebody else. What? What you mean? Like, what are you saying? Like, you said I should be starting on this team, but you're gonna let me go? I did nothing wrong. Everything I did was what you asked me to do. But what sense are you making right now? Like, just tell me why you cut me so I can leave and not. Because I done scratched and clawed to get to here. This D-League, this NBA, like, bam, I don't belong here. I'm a glitch. Like, I understand that. But don't cut me saying some shit like that. Tell me it was real. And he never did. He just kept it political. So I let it slide, let it rock. Then, I go out to Vermont to play in the ABA again. Like, all depressed. Like, damn, like, it's a wrap. Like, but I was still doing well. Tweaked my ankle, the smallest little tweak. I'm out for 2 years with surgery. Doctor was like, yo, you're not going to play. Like, you want to play till you 35, past 35, but you're probably not going to play past 30.
Damn.
I was like, what? He was like, yeah. He said, the injury that you have is going to create too many asymmetries in your body because we have to remove a part of the bone. So the way your foot, the way you're going to be running is going to create all these issues as you progress in life. It's like, damn, I ain't trying to hear that shit. So every time I tried to run the next, from 6 months to a year, every time I tried to run, I couldn't run for a year. I had to learn how to run again. So that whole year and a half leading up to when I moved back to New York, because I had moved down to Florida to train. Every leading up to that time, bro, I was killing my body trying to get back in shape, and then my ankle just would not let me get to that point. Like, I'll train for 2 weeks straight. Like, I am good, nutrition clean, everything, eating clean, living in that good Florida air, because I had moved down there, living by the beach, training 4 or 5 hours a day. But when I say out of nowhere, I wake up, my ankle's this big. I'm getting cortisone shot, I'm getting all that. So I fought my way. When I moved back to New York in 2010, I was like, I'm done. I can't. Confidence shot. I'm out of basketball. I ran into my sister, Milani, on the train. She was like, yo, what you mean you done? I was like, I can't. I've been fighting this thing for a year and a half. Like, trust me when I say I'm fighting it, I can't. My body's not responding. Like, it's crap. It's like, nah, man, you'll be all right. She was leaving the next day to go with season hoop. She was like, nah, you out. When I get back, we're going to train. When I get back, we're working out. I was like, nah, whatever. So Lee Church, my bro, Lee Church.
Yes.
Saw me
Rest in peace, yes.
Saw me, boy, he was like, yo, what you doing home? I was like, I just moved back. My ankle, I'm out. Bingo is hooping. Bingo, we're gonna play with Bingo and D&D out in Queens. So I was like, nah, I don't really want. The whole week I was like, this is like a Tuesday. I was like, nah, I don't want to play no more. I'm done. I'm tired of fighting this ankle. I can't, like, I'm tired of fighting. So we go out. This is when, like, me and Bingo clicked. Because Lee introduced him, introduced us, and Bingo was like, I like him. Earl Robinson, that's your.
Yeah.
And like I had, mind you, like I had went through this whole process, and D'Artagnan has been influential with me throughout this whole time. He got me from when I graduated college. I'm everywhere with me. ABA, USD. D has been like my big brother and somebody who's like just, my big brother that I do this with, we fight.
Right.
Up until this time when I meet Bingo, Bingo's somebody who, what me and D'Artagnan were, Bingo was different because he understood that where I was at in that particular stage in my life, and I wanted to move on from ball because I had such a crazy setback. He understood that the D-League shit didn't work out. You fought your way to get to that point and shit didn't work out. But that don't mean you need to get basketball gives more than the financial, more than it gives more. You need to stay into the game so that you start positioning yourself to give back. So, regardless, and so he's like, yo, so we win D&D and now I'm back in shape. I went out to play at that high level, but I had to push myself past the point where, like, I was extremely uncomfortable. Guys were moving at a crazy speed. So now I'm starting to feel comfortable. So we win D&D. Then we go play Hoops in the Sun spring tournament. And now I'm in better shape than I was before the ankle because all I could do was lift weights and train my body in different ways for basketball. Trying to get back into basketball, like getting away from basketball and training this way. Now it's different. Now up top, core, everything is just different than it was before. So I ain't just shooting jump shots no more. I'm here with the ball. I'm jabbing. I'm getting in the paint, and I'm doing stuff that I was never doing before. So my game evolved again. So Mike Campbell's bag that I stored away, I stole that. I went right into Mike Campbell's bag and took everything, how mid-post, everything that he do, like how he jabbing and going by God. I took all of that. Get to summer 2011, because this was winter and spring 2011 going into the summer of 2011. I was so angry at the fact that I couldn't get nobody on the phone, sending my resume everywhere. Nobody's biting. I can't get nothing. I can't even get in the bum leagues that I was playing in, and I can't get nobody because everybody know about the ankle. Everybody knows I've been turning down phone calls for a year and a half. Can't go nowhere. My ankle shot. So I can't get nobody on the phone saying I'm back. They think I'm going through some depression. I'm just like, oh, he washed up, so he's just trying to get it out of the system. Nah, I'm mad. I'm angry. I want to get back into ball. That's why that summer, Glenn, I promise you, something I was like, it just clicked. Something clicked, and I was just relentless that whole summer. Everybody I played against that entire summer, and me and D'Artagnan was going through it. He was like, nah, I'm not gonna let you play with us in Fireball. You gotta go to West Fall. What? I gotta go where? I can't play in Fireball. He putting guys on the team that never really played with us. Mind you, I done put years with X-Men, years and years and years with that same core unit, and he booted me out because me and him we just clashed. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you, and I'm gonna show because there was a lot of disrespect coming my way, and guys saying stuff that was just you don't talk down to me.
This is before or after the 2 championships?
This is leading up. This is that summer. This is the spring leading up to Rucker. And so, mind you, playing with Bingo in the winter with D&D, won that chip. Playing in the spring with me at the Untouched with my man Will Buckets. Playing with Will Buckets and Al Shep and all. Like, I'm playing with them uptown. We're going on, and then we're winning. So all of that basketball that that I've been playing. Not to mention, Milani comes home in the spring. Me, her, Chris Wade, and a bunch of us is in the Salvation Army in Brownsville 4 or 5 times a week, training hard, training like for hours and hours and hours, getting ready for that 2000. Me, Tommy, Eddie, Chris Wade, we train. We tearing each other up in that gym for hours at a time leading up to that summer. So when that summer came, everybody in my way was getting finished. Like I ain't never seen a crowd like that at Westbrook. I don't care. I've been to Westbrook championships just to watch. I ain't never seen a crowd to where you got to walk the street to go around. I was killing everybody. Everybody just getting. I knew I had got into a mode that was like I was on autopilot all summer. And I was in a zone, and it was just like, and my pockets was dry. I was back in Brevoort, living in my mom's crib. I'm back in my room after I done been all these other places. I'm back in the room. I'm sitting there looking at these 4 walls. And everything is building. I'm just like, yo, I'm ready. Every game that I went to, I had my uncle saying, my uncle Mook, like, yo, I'm gonna drive you to the game. Now I'm gonna take the train. I'm gonna sit on the train. I'm gonna be mad as soon as I get to the game. Like you could see everybody that like, you know, M used to call me to the game. She was like, yo, when you used to get off the train, you had this look. like guys used to really look at you. Shit. Like, damn. Guys putting their head down. Damn. You about to fry us. And I was really 8, 9, 10 buckets in a row, 8, 9, 10 trips down the court, killing whoever was in front of me. And I was like, yo, who dude right there? Oh, he's such and such. You about to go overseas. Like, how much money you getting? Like, $200K. It's not a nice little deal. Oh yeah, you about to get it. You about to get it. Like, what's your name, bro? Where you played at? Yeah, introduce myself before the game. I'm about to kill you. And I did that I try to do that to everybody because that's the mode that I was in because I needed to get back into ball. I had to make a statement to get me back into ball.
That's where that vengeance came from. That's what I mentioned in the intro.
Right. You know, and I was mad at that as a whole. I was just mad at the game because I had been looked over so many times. I had been brushed over so many times, and the way the way that guys talked about me as if I'm not supposed to be there because I didn't go the prestigious New York City path. I didn't go to the Division I school. I didn't go to one of the top high schools. Guys went to that and that played AAU, that did all this. I ain't do none of that. So when they met me, they just meet me for the first time. So when I scored a bucket on, even if I scored the first bucket on them, they act like as if I'm not supposed to score a bucket on them because you went to where? Watch these next 9 buckets I get. And how bad I'm up to make you look and feel before you got to leave to go to your season. Watch how bad it's been. And I just had that in my mind for everybody that I played because of that reason. Looked over, I just had that.
Yeah, even the article, right? The article says, little known Purist wins prestigious Baller of the Summer trophy, right? And then it goes down and talk about your coach Bingo said he's very underrated. He's a premier shooter, premier ball handler. He is just the ultimate pro. Right. What does it mean when you hear that coming from Coach Bingo and this awesome article that was written about you?
I was playing against Bingo in Rucker for that championship. Playing with X-Men. That's my home. X-Men always, right?
Coach Mixon with Coach Mix, yep.
I'm playing against Bingo in the chip. So, like I'm looking at Bingo like, damn. But I had to separate him. Good thing he wasn't a player. Like I had to separate him from the guys that I'm used to competing against.
Right.
Dobie. I'm used to competing against Shep. And Shep, I had just won a chip with Shep in the spring. So I'm looking at, Kee Kee, and I'm looking at, D-II. I'm looking at all these guys. I'm like, man, like they did everything that they did everything you're supposed to do. They got everything that I've always wanted as a ball player. So I got to step it up because I ain't stepping on a court with no bums. I'm stepping on a court with elite. Like this is like these guys making top dollar in Europe. So whatever. And I let in the beginning, if we could find the tape, because I know the tape is somewhere, but we can't find. But we got some clips online, but we can't find the tape. If you watch that game, the whole game I paced with them. Whatever they.
Who has that game? You know who has it? Is it online anywhere?
Nah. They got clips showed up because they always do. They showed up, and I was like, all right, now I gotta show up. I gotta match whatever they doing, so that I let everybody know that I'm right there too. I'm right there in that space. I should be making money like they make. I should be in that space. You know what I mean? And like, and those are my guys too. Like they're great basketball players. I'm like, man, they do shit that when you're raised in basketball, raised in it, you have things that guys like me, the late bloomers, don't have. And I understand why they're in that space. Like I was taught lessons from being on the outside and understand why guys like them are in that position. Like I get it now. I didn't get it before. I was just mad. I was just trying to scratch and claw. Now I get it now. I understand. You know, so we end up beating them in Rucker. And then the next night, we in West Fall, playing against G. Herb and Adris and Team Nike. I mean, not Team Nike, and United Brooklyn. So they loaded up United Brooklyn. So I was like, oh, Adris is my man. Me and Gary Urban played up in Canada. Me, Gary Urban, and Adris, too hard to go. We was all up in Canada living together playing like a year ago. So it was about to be real competitive. And we went at it, but we won. They somehow was winning by 2, and they let the ball roll right to my feet at the 3-point line with nobody in the way. Cash, game over. So that's 2 nights in a row. And I'm like, from that point on, it wasn't just those 2 games. It was the manner in which I was just chipping away at people. Like people that was legit pros, that was making legit bread in these playoff games leading up to the championship. I was cooking them. It was bad. I ain't never cooked nobody like that in my life.
Yeah, they said that all the name brand players. You cooked all the name brand players. You had a name, you was going down. Like they had a big target on their back.
I was tearing people ass up. And not only that, I was going to Gersh. Because I was playing in Gersh since I was, playing with my man Theo. And Ty, that's on the mic at Gersh.
Yeah.
Play together with Theo. So that's my man.
Ty used to play?
Ty used to play. We used to play together with Theo. So when I showed up at Gersh, Ty was digging it up from day one. Like, yo, my man, he about to chip. And a lot of people ain't know me in East New York. So I got, how many guys got 2 streetball names? I got 2. I got Tom Shepard in Brooklyn. I'm the Purist everywhere else. You know you can't be your ass up when you got
That's real. That's real. That's real. So, we had a lot of guys that talk about, New York City legend status, right? They just got finished celebrating a whole bunch up at the Rucker. And I want to ask my guy, Ref 1, BG, anybody who in here, Marvin, Roberts, who's in here, BG.
Another trophy holder.
Oh, yeah.
You got one of those.
He for real. We talk about that legend status, right? I was thinking about it today. I was like, when I was doing the flyer, should I put New York City legend? Because I feel when you rule a year, right? It's like rappers, right? You talk about rappers. Like, I remember Nori dropped that album in 98, 97. Was crazy. Like, he ruled the whole year. Ja Rule ruled a couple of years. 50 Cent, when he came out 2003, he ruled a few years. But what you did and where you came from, the space that where you came from, nothing was given to you. No prestigious high school, no all city, no all American, no D1. You earned your way. Yeah. And then throughout the injuries, to come back after that, 3 years after that, and reign, to be king of New York City. I think that's something to be said about legendary status here in New York City. I'm saying that.
I take it. It took a lot to even after that point, like injuries and everything, my body was still never the same. Like that summer took a lot out physically. You know what I'm saying? So even after I went, because I got a contract after that, but I was fighting through exactly what that doctor said I was fighting. I used to go hurry up and practice, go back to my room and like curl up in a ball because my body, the asymmetries and how my body was working just was off. From what a ball player is supposed to be able to accomplish physically, I ain't have it. So I was out there just because I had played so much basketball, I knew how to will my way through a lot of stuff and make it not show. But I was in pain the whole from 2010 to when I finished in 2014. I was in pain all the time. But I had hooped so much that I understood my spots. I know how to get to my spots. And my jump shot that's been my crutch since day one.
It's like riding a bike, baby. Once you can do it, don't go away.
It's like I can get on any team because the way that I shoot and because of that particular skill set, I'm going to shoot 50% because I know where my spots are. I know exactly how to get to them, and I'm not going to waste no time. I'm not going to waste no shots. I'm not going to waste nothing. You know, and my whole journey of basketball was never about me having an opportunity to get to the league. That was if it happened, cool. It didn't. For me, basketball helped fill in all the blanks from all the shit that I had to deal with growing up. It helped raise me. It gave me all these relationships that I have now, all the friends great friends that I have, business connects, and it gave me a second career and passion for learning in that second career. And now that I'm coaching, I get to give all of the information that I have to these kids as far as movement, health, fitness, wellness, all of those things. I get to give it to them.
And what about the information, right? Because there's going to be a kid who's watching this that says, damn, this dude, he wasn't that good in high school. You know, later on he became really good, but he ruled New York City, right? Because a lot of kids want the instant. They want the microwave. They want the microwave game. And I tell you, a lot of those guys who was like top 8th grader, top 9th grader, top in the city, a lot of those guys disappear. We don't hear from them no more. Not all of them, but some of them. But you really get a guy like yourself that come along that changes the matrix of things.
I was a glitch. I was a complete glitch in the matrix.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
A lot of times I would come out in the summer league game and everybody's Division I, and I'm only D-II and JUCO guy out there, and I'm the best player, if not one of the best players on the court too. With the best skill set, I'm the best shooter, hands down. It's not even close. I'm the best shooter, and it's like if you can, I'm like I look at guys now. I'm like, yo, you played top high school basketball somewhere, 4 years. Play top D1 somewhere, 4 years, and you leave and you don't become a pro. You the problem. You the problem. You're the problem. It ain't the coaching. You're the problem. Because ain't no way in hell you'd have inserted me into any of what I just said. If I would have played for Major, where would I have been? If I would have played for Lovelace, where would I have been?
Facts.
If I would have went to a Division I school for 4 years, where would I have been? You get what I'm saying? If I would have had that same straight line, where would I have been? But all of those things weren't mapped out for me that way.
Nope.
All the shit that I went through with my uncle and how it was tearing me up emotionally, just tearing me up mentally. I was in the right environment where I had coaches that actually gave a shit about me, the person, not basketball. It was about me. They invested their time to teach me how to become a man, how to deal with the depression and the shit that I was going through at that time. They invested in me. That's what I needed to do. Because if I would have went to Colgate, they'd have discarded me like they do other people.
All Boys and Girls, or Lincoln, or Jefferson early, probably been swallowed whole and probably been turned off by basketball.
So what I tell kids now is I'm like, you go to the place where a coach, if you're sitting across the table from a coach, and a coach is talking to you about what they want for you, they should be talking about what they want for you and not what they have to offer you. The same thing they have to offer you, they have to offer every kid that's competing.
That's right.
But what do they want for you? What do they want do you know about how can you take me from being an 18-year-old kid to being a man when I leave here with more focus, more things that are going to help me for the rest of my life, not just with basketball. And it's like, you know, if I could do it all over again, I wouldn't blame anybody else for the shortcomings, for the lack of focus, for the lack of productivity. There is no one else to blame for those things. Those are the lessons that I needed to learn, because it put me in the space that I'm in now to coach the kids that I'm coaching, to teach them about the decisions that they're making now and how it's helping them become better men. Become men first. Become men. And then, like Diggs did for us, you know what I mean? It was, basketball is not your gift. Basketball is nobody's gift. It's all other qualities leading up to. That's just your skill set. That's that's the thing that you choose to pour into. You got much more to offer than just basketball. Basketball is a game. Basketball, you know, it doesn't come and it doesn't last forever. It doesn't last. It's not. You're not going to be able to play this game forever.
Nope.
So it's not. It doesn't define you as a person. All the life lessons that it can give you and who it can turn you into as a man and a woman is exactly what all those skills are going to take you to the next stage in your life. Like the discipline, the grit, the understanding your role as a teammate. You know, understanding your limitations and how to overcome them. Being consistent with just being the best version of yourself. That ain't basketball skill. That's life skill. You know, and a lot of kids, especially in New York City culture, we glorify kids for accomplishing something that so many other people have already accomplished. Like, so you're nice at basketball in high school.
Facts. Facts.
So you hoop a little bit. You average 20 in PSAL. So
this is why I interview you guys. I love the high school kids. I love what my guys at NYC Prospect is doing with the young guys. But come see me when your career is finished. Come see me when you accomplish some things, you know. And not saying that you're not accomplishing things now, but this is about the whole transition, right? What you guys gonna go through is totally than what these, you know, you guys went through.
I tell my kids now, listen, I ain't played ball since, like, I haven't played competitive ball since January 2020. I get on the gym, I'll get some shots up, I do all that stuff, train a little bit. But I ain't played since January 2020. But if we play one-on-one, you're not gonna score. That's humble money for you. That's humble for you. Humility. I hand it out. And in most high school kids, like, I can still bust 95% of high school kids as right now. Like, right now, as a retired ball player. And so can most of all pros at my age right now can still. There's so much you don't know. You think you're the best right now, but the best, you don't know who that is yet. In your class, you don't know who that is yet.
Debbie Como said, you are an amazing coach.
Debbie Como, yeah. What's up, Deb? Love you.
Hey, look, we're going to continue with this, but my guy just sent me this. I don't know if you can really see it. I'm going to send it to you after we get out of here.
Oh, that's fire. I need that. Need that on my wall.
For sure. All right, and he lives in Jersey now, so I'll have him bring it down in a couple of days and give it to you before you get out of here.
I'm gonna be in the hood on Saturday. I'm coming back on Saturday.
We all will be there. I'll make sure I have him out there for you, man, for sure. So let's get down to this, right? How are you feeling when you wake up the next day and everybody's telling you you're in the post, or did you know?
About the article and all
yes.
I ain't give a shit. I ain't care.
How do you not? We talking about high school, you didn't get a chance, right? To blow up in the paper. It was that after that, it was like, so what?
Like I told you, that was my rock bottom. Back home, I had money dried up. I'm back home. I'm starting off from scratch. myself. I had to scratch and claw to get back into that space. So I didn't give a shit that this is what I accomplished because it felt good at the moment. I had the moment. I'm happy. We won this, we won that. Like, I need my shot. Like I need to be where the money making the bread. Because as good as, and you know what? This is a lesson for a lot of guys when it comes to trying to become a pro basketball player. Because there's a lot of guys that never got a shot to actually get a chance to hoop, to go overseas or go somewhere and hoop. They went to whatever school, they came home, and they're not getting a shot. Don't think that New York City, the circuit and playing in all these games in the summer is what's going to give you the shot. Because the shit didn't give me a shot. It just let everybody know that I had already established myself, that I'm back in shape. That's all it did. Oh, Greg is back. That shit didn't catapult me to go sign somewhere. I already knew all these people. I knew I had these people numbers in my phone. I signed to Canada because I had them in my phone. Off a Facebook message, like, yeah, you ready now? I see you back in shape. Yeah, let's go. Send a contract. Let's go. That was from my connects that I had already made with working everywhere else. My game was developed because of New York City. You develop your game at home. That's the advantage that we have over everybody else because we have an intense learning environment all summer, spring, everywhere. There's always a league somewhere for you to stay in shape.
So why do the kids leave? Why do the kids leave and go out of town to all these AAU circuits and all if they could do it right at home?
Well, no. I mean, the AAU circuit and all that stuff, our kids are leaving because coaches aren't coming to New York to recruit them. They ain't coming to watch a kid play like back in the day when a coach would literally come to sit in your high school.
Facts. All the summer league games, they will be out there. You're right.
Those days is over. And you got guys that get like we know how to inflate the value of a kid, knowing full well that he's not that good. I can see this shit with my own 2 eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good for high school basketball. You're more advanced than high school basketball. Cool. But are you as good as your Instagram account says you are? The followers that you have right now, are you as good as LeBron's son and Mikey Williams? No, you're not. Why? Because they have fucking full-time trainers. Excuse my language.
Nah, you keep them 100. Yes.
They have full-time staff. They have people in charge, understand fitness and health, and understand these things that keep these kids at top elite athlete level. We're talking about New York City, where they don't like letting us in the gym just to work out. Gotta beg somebody to get in the school to work out in New York City.
Facts. Or have a connect with Game Over. My man Eric Hicks getting that gym, but you gotta pay $245 an hour.
Right, and the school system is shitty in New York City. There's like a lot of public schools aren't preparing kids to be able to get into Division I schools academically and be able to actually compete in the classroom. They ain't preparing them for that. So that's why you look at the top 100 list or the top 50 list in the country. You see 10, 15 New York kids that's in prep school, but they list them as they prep school town that they live in, not from New York City.
You're right about that.
Go somewhere else to play to get a good education, to get a decent, well-rounded education, because the school system is weaker, and that's real. It's like, damn, this kid gotta get shipped out. You can't stay home and have a balanced family life. You gotta go somewhere else, go to prep school and start living like a pro at 16. You wonder why he turned 18 and go to college and he burnt out. He ain't getting the same experience as other kids. You know, and the resources at that particular high school ain't always there. And there's a lot of times too, like, you know, like the culture itself. That's why I'm glad our basketball tournaments are coming back. Our culture's coming back. It was, you know, we let a lot of outside forces dictate how our culture is run. The sneaker companies and people try to come in and dictate how we run our culture and what they want for our culture. We dictate basketball culture. New York dictates basketball culture. That's why you see all the tournaments all over the United States trying to copy what we started in New York.
Listen, I didn't know this. When Tiny was at Nazareth, I was asking him, I was like, why did y'all not move into the AA? He was like, well, Nike doesn't want too many of their schools competing against each other. And this was from his mouth. I was just like, how do they dictate who you play against?
What part of New York City basketball? Iron sharpens iron. I was very happy when they put all them teams in the same conference. I was happy. Like, yeah, thinking boys and girls, all that stuff. Yeah, put them all in the same. Let them tear each other up. Like, what? That's iron sharpening iron right there. So what? All of our top. It should be the point where it's like, before you get out of Brooklyn, you gotta play this. Before you get into the city, you gotta do this. You should be well equipped to go and play against upstate teams and everywhere else once you leave Brooklyn, because it's consolidated. All the talent is consolidated. But out other places like now for instance, where I live in Pittsburgh, you got this huge high school that's the size of Boys and Girls and Robeson together, and they got 12 on one team. They got varsity is 12. Of course, they're gonna have a few footers and big athletes because they got 12 to pick from the same numbers that Boys and Girls and Robeson got together. Our talent is so spread out throughout the city that kids don't get a chance to get a look. So that's why they so thirsty to get on the AAU circuit, try to prove themselves on the AAU circuit, and just hurry up and get out there, because our culture is not what it used to be.
But then they going out there and they getting smacked because we got so many AAU teams. The talent spread out so much. You got so many AAU teams. I'm not gonna say in my day it was 3. If you made the 3, it was 3 to 5. If you made those, you were good. Now it's so many, you got like one stud per team.
You see what M-Dot said too? See what M-Dot said? He said the out-of-state kids play football, basketball, track.
Yeah.
Seasons nonstop training. So look, being like you said, how y'all and my uncle, like y'all age group in Brevoort, y'all used to play football.
Yeah.
Y'all played baseball. Y'all played everything.
Yeah.
So my generation, our age group, we tried to mimic that and do the same thing. So we was out playing football. I was out playing football all the time, right in front of my building on football. Every damn day in the fall when football season started, we outside playing football.
Facts.
Like I play handball all summer. That's why basketball, I catch it. I'm playing handball all summer. So my athleticism, my hand-eye coordination was already there for basketball. I developed as an athlete before I started taking it serious. My body was already ready at 15, 16 for basketball. If our kids are specializing at 9, 8, 9, 10 years old, their body's gonna be shot when they get to college. They're gonna be shot. Knees, all the other, they play too much basketball.
Right.
You see that conversation? Remember Kobe did the joint when they was talking about, like, yo, Kobe, what were you doing at 12? Kobe asked Michael Jordan, what were you doing at 12? Mike said, I was playing baseball. Kobe said, I don't know, I was being a kid somewhere, just being a kid. It's Kobe and Mike talking. You know what I'm saying? Like, all these other sports that our kids as athletes could go and excel and learn how to train their bodies differently.
Yep.
Just hooping. They don't realize that's an Achilles heel by the time you're 19, 20. You got over and underdeveloped muscles.
Body parts, yep.
So the kids that's playing football and baseball and running track, they're developing all the muscles necessary to be crazy explosive in basketball. So when you give them a little bit of skill, they look like they way better basketball players than our kids.
That's real, man.
And then everybody's a trainer. Everybody's a trainer. Everybody.
Me and my guy Mike Chavis was talking about this the other day. He trains Tyler Johnson, Tyler. Yo, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
This kid different. I watched him play the other day. He plays for St. Benedict's. They moved he was around the corner of Decatur. They moved to Jersey. And it's benefited him a lot because I saw his grades. His grades even got better. His body is transforming. He just turned into a whole different beast.
Right.
So I asked him the other day, he was on, him and Mike does an excellent job with him. And I said, you know, what New York City guards you compete with you? He said, none. He's like, no, I'm not even bragging. He said, it's a dog fight every day in Jersey, but I don't see any guard in New York City that I can't, give the business to.
Because it's a lot like physical. Like you watch what's the kid, DeLeon, right? Everybody uses him as an example.
Isaiah Washington.
He just looked so overwhelmed when he got to that level.
The talent didn't match the height.
What he's capable of doing with the ball and the control that he has with the ball, physically, he wasn't there. Like I tell you what, like Gary Irvin, right? Gary Irvin coming out of high school. What did Gary Irvin's body look like? Gary Irvin was ready for SEC.
Yes.
Trained, worked on his body, like he did other stuff. A lot of New York City kids, self-included, don't know how to train, don't know how to hoop, don't know how to train.
And then Isaiah went to the Big Ten right off the rip. That's a football conference.
Elite athleticism. Any football conference, the athleticism spills over into the basketball program. They might not have great hoopers all the time, but that athleticism, that size, speed, and athleticism spills over into basketball. So they'll always produce top-level athleticism on the basketball court. If you're not a top-level athlete or a superior, like a crazy superior skilled basketball player, ain't no way in hell you're going to be able to compete with them athletes. Ain't no way. And that's how I knew I belonged. I was a pro. Because when I stepped on the court at Florida, mind you, this is the year before after they left, they won 2 straight.
Mm-hmm.
When I stepped on the court with them, it wasn't nobody moving me physically. It wasn't nobody overwhelming me. I was getting in the paint. I got tapped up by David Lee. I got dunked on him and it didn't count because it was off a rebound. I was like, I belong here. Physically, I belong here. I feel comfortable. I'm not overwhelmed. But 3 years ago, I was like, yo, I can't step on the court with nobody because I'm coming from New York. We don't lift. We don't know how to lift. We don't know how to train. We don't know how to build up our bodies to get ready for that game. And we spend too much time with our kids teaching them 12 moves. If you know how to do a 1-2 dribble pull-up, rip through 1-2 dribble pull-up. That's all you know how to do. And a counter move to get all the way to the rack. That's all you know how to do. And you work on your body for the rest. You're a Division I basketball player. Straight up. Corey Brewer. He's just an athlete. He just dunked. He just played. He's just an athlete. He got to the league. I played against him. I'm looking for the All-American. Where is this shit? I don't see it. Playing against 4 of them. This shit is bothering me. Like, why are these guys All-American? But then in that last 3-4 minutes of that game, when they subbing in 1 7-footer that runs as fast as I do after the dunk, shit. Like, now I see it.
Yep.
Now I see it. Just speed, power, speed.
Right.
And then Corey Brewer gets a wide open lane. Balls up here. He got bumped twice. The ball's back here. Boom, out the hole. Now I understand. Now I get it. Like that, you gotta be able. If you want to get to the next level, you have to know what to do physically. That's why I got into the train. Like I'm not a basketball skills trainer. Yeah, I do that because I know how. Yeah, but I got a book. Look at my bookshelf. I got books all over the house. I'm in it. I'm studying movement constantly. Like how guys are training, all the top trainers in the NBA, what they know. I'm reading the books that they read. I'm studying the stuff that they study. I'm getting the certifications that they got, that they're training the NBA players with. I'm doing all those things to know how to train the elite athlete, how to get a person from not walking correct to elite athlete status. Like how do you get that? How do you get from A to Z? A lot of guys are just, I play ball, so I'm gonna get in the gym and I'm gonna teach somebody how to hoop. And I'm going to take credit for that kid going to the fam. Like, you got to learn how to take care of this kid. You got to prepare him for the next step. All those moves you teaching him, yeah. Why is it that he can't get that move? Because his hips are tight. Because his feet are messed up. Because he don't move properly the way you need him to in order to get him to the next step. You know what I'm saying? Like why is it that this kid struggles getting off the ground in the jump shot? Oh, because he got bad feet, wearing the wrong shoes. His gait is messed up. He don't run properly. He don't plant properly.
So
you gotta know how to.
Greg, question.
Yeah.
I see the kids wearing a lot of slippers and Crocs all over the place. How can that hurt or benefit them?
Crocs. I mean, first of all, it's better than wearing basketball shoes. Basketball players should be training with their shoes off. Your feet should be strong enough for you to train fitness-wise, like lifting weights and all that stuff. Like training, you should be training with your shoes off, barefoot.
Why is that?
Because when you're in a basketball shoe, our digits, our fingers, and our hands, our toes, and our foot is supposed to move like this. You see all the individual muscles in the foot, and how it's supposed to move in relation to the lower legs. If you're restricted when you put a basketball shoe on, it restricts that movement. Each individual digit is not allowed to do its job to create the stability. And over time, your feet and your toes and everything ultimately get weak. That's why basketball players have ankle problems and knee problems. And those issues usually move up from the ankle to the knee, to the hip, to the back, whatever. So the shoes that we wear are so cushioned and so restricted that when it's time for us after an entire season to go into the playoffs and perform, you see guys breaking down, bodies breaking down because training starts from the ground up. So you get out that shoe. That's why check out the IG page, Mr. Do It Move. Mr. Do It Move. He's Drew Holiday's trainer. He trains with barefoot, bare feet. A lot of the guys that train with bare feet. He trains with loaded movement. A lot of body weight stuff, a lot of core training, a lot of stuff that you don't necessarily have to load up with just weights going away from pump iron like a bodybuilder. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying to learn how, if you're a trainer, take the time to go get educated enough to do the job. Go learn how to do the job. If a kid walks in and he got issues, got one shoulder's jacked up, the other shoulder's too tight, and you wonder why his shot is like this. You wonder why he's not getting full extension on his shot because his shoulder's. You don't know how to get his shoulder mobile and get it loose enough to fix that jump shot, and you're just gonna go in the gym and do this. You're ultimately working on bad habits. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's like
man.
You have to start educating yourself to understand that. Just like my man Just understands exactly what I'm talking about because Just knew me before I became a trainer and the issues that I was dealing with. You know what I'm saying? So, and all of the education comes from me, my body failing me at times when I needed it to perform because it was going to take me to the next step. That's why my motivation now for learning these things was mostly to learn how to fix my own body. When I had the ankle injury, my doctor told me, he said, yo, you have a lifetime sentence in the gym. You could never stop working out. The moment you stop working out because of all the times you rolled your ankle, broken foot, the bone spurs in the toe, the torn hamstring, the torn meniscus, the wrist, the torn up wrist, the broken wrist that I didn't know I had when I went for an x-ray for my broken thumb. All this stuff, he was like, yo, you're going to have arthritis like crazy if you don't learn how to train yourself to be able to perform normal life stuff. You gotta dig into these books to learn how to train. He said, and to be honest, like you might have to learn so much stuff to really be able to take care of your body to like do stuff like when you want to be able to play with your grandkids, you're gonna have to really learn how to train, like real high level stuff. Because just going in the gym and doing this ain't gonna get it for you. So the spillover is that I've learned all this information, right? And I could be, and what I want to be like who my hero is. My hero, Thomas Diggs, right? I ain't just saying that because Diggs is best.
Nah, it's real. He's all of our hero, man. This is real talk. Yep.
Thomas Diggs, Leo Perry, D'Artagnan Mason, Bingo. As I got older, I stopped looking up to NBA players for all the materialistic things. And I started looking at these guys like, they don't owe me nothing. They don't owe me shit.
That's right.
Nothing. And because these guys love where they come from. They love their people. They love everything about the neighborhood. They gave us grace that we did not deserve. We ain't deserve them to just pull us to the side and say, yo, get your grades up. They don't owe us nothing. But they did it. Like these guys, like these are my heroes. These are my heroes. These are guys that personally planted a seed in me. I could be all over the place training nonstop, getting money everywhere. But I got a family. I want work-life balance, and all this information that I have, I want to give it away. I make a good living. I'm okay, but I want to give it away to somebody who needs it. These kids that I'm training in the hood where I'm at, they deserve it. And any kid that's willing to listen to everything that I have to say, me personally, I said, bro, I could teach you how to be a basketball player. I don't know how many guys, like other people were taught how to be basketball players. I had to go and put myself in situations where I was just in the gym, just absorbing, downloading everything from every ball player that walked in the gym. If I saw something that I like, I seen the move, I seen how you carry yourself, how you talk to people, I'm downloading every single thing, and I'm taking all the good parts of every person that I see that I like, so I can put it into myself, so I can ultimately give it away to somebody else. So the kids that I have, like I'm starting a program from scratch, from absolute scratch out here. So it's gonna take a little bit of time for me to get the boys to where I need them to be, but when it happens, it's gonna be crazy. And I wanted it that way. I wanted to give. I didn't want to go. I could have taught. I had a before I moved to Pittsburgh, I had an elite level high school job already lined up. I turned it down. I didn't know where I was going to be here, so I was like, I ain't gonna hold him up, and I ain't tripping. I got to get my family situated. Go ahead, because I already know what I'm bringing to the table. And not one coach in all of Pittsburgh that's coaching high school got what I had. They don't have the opportunity. They don't have the education to condition properly, to teach their kids how to be athletes, and come with the basketball knowledge that I have. They don't have it. I know for a fact. I've checked. So, and the fact that I want to be on a high school level where I'm making an impact the most, because these kids, they're in the hood. They just hoping just to figure out what they want to do in life and trying to find a way out. You know, there's other things that you can do that basketball can help you do. Basketball is not your life. It's not going to be with you forever. You're not going to be Jason Williams and somebody who can play ball and mess up and get a second chance
right
with basketball forever. That's not how basketball works. But it can help you get to one step that can ultimately change your life and put you in position to do something great. And that's where I'm at now. You know what I mean? Like, I don't resent nobody. I don't resent my basketball career. Of course, I went through that whole depression part when I stopped playing. That need for competition and not having it. I went through that. A lot of guys that I know my age and around, guys, when they stop hooping, that they've, like, we as New York City basketball players have identified ourselves with basketball. Like, our entire identity is basketball. We don't realize that all the shit that we go through in life and staying straight and narrow and trying to do what we're supposed to do in life, that's the grit. That's the gift. Because basketball could have been computer programming, as far as I'm concerned. It could have been anything. If I would have put a quarter of what I did for basketball into being a physician, bro, you know what I'm saying? But that's not what I wanted.
That's right. And a lot of us wasn't exposed to those things, you know, but we put our plan into action, and we got something out of it. Staying the straight and narrow, doing the things that we love to do. And speaking of those guys who were your heroes, goes the same for me and other people. When you talk about New York City basketball, those guys who kind of made our greatest players didn't have any money.
Right.
They didn't come for money.
And they ain't asked for nothing.
And didn't ask for anything. But turned out hundreds and hundreds of pros, all-stars, legends. You know, I met this guy 2 years ago, right when I started this show, Coach Turtle Uptown, right? It's a legendary basketball coach who's been coaching in the Rucker since he was 14. I never knew about him. I'm interviewing my guy John Arnold from Manhattan Center, and St. Francis, and then he coaches out Luha, and I'm saying, who is this guy you talking about? He said, yo, G, if you see him, trust me, my kids laugh. But then when he started teaching them the game, they realize how much knowledge he has. So I'm uptown, up at 145th Street, doing my due diligence in the park. I just came from Gauchos Gym, walked over the bridge, went down 145th Street, going to do some filming in the park. And who's in the park? Coach Turtle with 2 kids. I didn't know who he was, but I went to introduce myself and asked, I said, I'm going to do some filming. Hope you guys don't mind being on camera. He's like, nah, go ahead. I said, by the way, my name is Glenn Harding. I have a show called Basketball Heads. He said, I'm Coach Turtle. This little old man barely had teeth in his mouth, but had 2 high school guys working out. And I said, how long you been doing this? He said 50 years. Jerry Ice Reynolds, Kenny Anderson, Kenny Smith. He started naming these names. I was like, he said, yeah, I had something to do with them. He didn't have a Bentley. He didn't look like a person who came from money, but still giving back after all of these years. Those are things that kind of inspire me, man, and see the things that inspire you as well.
Right. Like, I watch, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was close to Diggs. I spent a lot of the time with Diggs. Diggs was like, all of every direction that I was going in, it was nudged. It was like, all right, do this. And Diggs is the one that told me early, he was like, you got to play basketball. You have to play basketball. I'm like, me, I'm thinking like, now I understand exactly what he saw it. He saw what I was capable of after a certain point. I'm talking about, man, I kid you not. You walk around Greenwood, ask anybody. They come in from the club 3-4 o'clock in the morning. I'm outside in the column. All the nets get torn down because I was outside Carlos shooting. I'm tearing all the nets down shooting. I'll be outside all day, shooting. All day. It was people that would do a whole shift at work, come home, and I'm still outside. Like, yo, man, bro, you been out here this whole time? Like, yeah. I remember what it was like when I had holes in my sneakers and I was outside hooping, my feet touching the ground because my sneakers was torn up. I did that in the college.
I remember those days.
You know what I'm saying? I'm still that kid. I'm still that kid that I couldn't get through it watching a whole basketball game without wanting to go outside. You know what I'm saying? Like when August and September roll around, I'm still conditioned to get ready for training camp. That's how my brain works. And it's always going to work like that because it's in us. You know what I'm saying? Like basketball was implanted in me from being like just watching being in the college. You know what I'm saying? Like just that where we come from, everybody does not have like this. My basketball career could not happen to a suburban kid. Couldn't happen to a kid in another part of Manhattan that has to walk 10 blocks to go to the basketball court. It happened because I look at the environment that I'm in. Everybody I walk by has a solid knowledge of basketball before I get to my house. Before I walk the 100 yards to my house, I'm walking by people that understand, like, yo, he's really good. And it's like, everybody doesn't understand, why didn't I do more in basketball? Why didn't I go here to this school? Why didn't I? Because my parents knew who I was. They knew who I was and what I was capable of doing if I was in the wrong environment. They put me in and they made decisions around the person that I was and not the ball player that I was. And that's what parents go wrong.
Well, then, look, they did the right thing because your story played out the way it's supposed to.
It was supposed to. Like everything, check this out. So, and it's funny because it's like, all right, I hooped my way in 2011, right? I hooped my way into a contract plan in Canada, right? And I start off, I get on the team. My first 15 games, I'm averaging 30, and I'm leading the league in scoring, right?
Damn.
This is 2011. I'm playing and I said, and I don't care, he's a clown, Jaren Jackson, right? I'm playing for this clown, right? And I call him a clown.
I've heard, yes.
Because of how he was disrespecting the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, he'll go away for like 10 days and he'll lock up the gym and be up there with no way to work out and then come back the day before hamstring the day before a game because they don't want to open up the gym the whole 10 days. This clown is out, so all I'm doing is lifting and trying. I'm not running in January. It's not happening. You know, we try to go to the gym and do some treadmill work, but that ain't basketball. So he comes back the day before a game and I tweak my hamstring, right? So I can't play in the game the next 2 days. Monday comes, we lost both games. Monday comes, we have practice again.
Mm-hmm.
I tear my hamstring.
Wow.
You know, grade 3 required surgery.
Yeah.
So mine was like a grade 2.8. This is 2012 now. After I fought and clawed my way back from the ankle. Mind you, the doctor said you're gonna have these issues, these asymmetries in your body that just your body's not gonna be functioning properly, especially during the basketball season. Other injuries are gonna come. So I tear my hamstring, right? So they send me home. After a month, I was there rehabbing, and then Lethal Shooter comes in to replace me. That's my guy, Chris, right? Comes in to replace me. I go home. The week I come home, I'm working out at the Reebok. The week I come home, I meet my wife. So I'm like, I met her at the gym, and we started.
Well, you're supposed to. It's supposed to be. Yep.
That was where I was supposed to be. That's the lesson that taught me I'm not in control. I'm not in control over my life. I don't have no business trying to. My job is to do the job that's in front of me. And what I'm given, taking care of my family, coaching this game to help these kids. I need to help as many kids as I possibly can change the trajectory of their life if it's going in a negative direction. That's my purpose. That's my motivation for staying close to basketball. That's all I want to do is just give everything. And like I said, when I heard the news last week, Team Ash was over. When I heard the news last week about Diggs passing, like it hit me. My Uncle Earl called me. It hit me, and I was just like, and I started crying, not because Diggs is gone. I started crying because I was so thankful.
Right.
I got a chance to know somebody that did something so great. Like he did, like what he did for us, my age group, all of us in Brooklyn, like all of us in Freeport. The lives that he saved because of just loving us, bro, it's crazy. He's my hero. So I can't wait. It gave me a new focus, a new motivation. Like I know who I want to be like again. Like I got a reminder from him. I talked to him a couple weeks ago too. I couldn't come to the dedication, so I talked to him a couple weeks ago, and I called him to be like, "Yo, Diggs, thank you. I'm proud of you. Like, you know, they named the court after you. That's so dope. Thank you so much for being just there. All those times when you saw me suffer on my own, you see me down, lift me up. When I was crying out, just walking home, just being out of it. Thank you for lifting me up. You know what I'm saying? Just thank you for being there." And that's what I was calling him. He flipped it and was like, "Yo, everything you've accomplished, like you did it. Like you have so much to be proud of." I was like, damn, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I knew that conversation was a little funny. You know what I'm saying? I knew it was a little something about it, the conversation. But the fact that that's the person that he is, like, I'm calling to say, Diggs, thank you. And he flipped it on me, like, yo, what you accomplished, man. Like, be proud of you. Crazy proud of you. Like, look where you're at. Like, you got your family to take care of. You got so much to give now. You have so much to give now. And we're proud of you. And we're just like, keep doing what you're doing. Just keep pushing, keep doing what you're doing. Our whole motivation, I'm going to spend the rest of my life giving everything that I can away to as many kids as I possibly can. Like, and like I train to make my money and make my living, and I have my clients that are separate from basketball that pays my bills and everything that I need and my income. But these kids, they ain't paying for shit. I'm giving them high level, elite level training and coaching and mentoring and all of that shit, and getting it for free just because life gave them a sack of lemons.
Yeah.
So I'm doing what Diggs did for me. I'm giving it to him. I want y'all to understand. I tell him all the time. I say, fam, I could be training all these other people. I want to be here with you. I want to see you take the next step to becoming a man in your life, so that I know I'm doing my job. I'm doing my part. I'm not just trying to kick my feet up and bask in luxury and live my life not giving to others. I know what my life is for. I want to be like Thomas Diggs and all the guys that help me along. That's what I'm doing.
That's right. Welcome to the team. And that team is called God's Army, right?
You're right.
Because we out here serving these kids, man, and doing what was done for us. Like I told you, the reason why he means so much to me, because at a time when I was like the new guy coming around, and when I made the team in Lincoln, it was a big deal to me and to people in the neighborhood and my family, because I always played on the sports teams, but no one really came to see me play. No one in my family. Football, baseball. And it didn't happen until after Thomas Diggs started to come see me play. And it's in high school. And then later on, my dad got to see me play. Then later on, my mom got to see me play in college. But the first grown person from my immediate surroundings that came to see me play and support me was Thomas Diggs. And it's some things that I can never forget, and him cutting me my 9th grade year on that legendary Brevoort team that helped me get so much better. But just those lessons, and he had a direct impact in my life, in all of our lives. So for us to want to turn around and do some of the same things for children that was done for us, just let you know, man, we definitely part of God's Army, man.
And it wasn't just Diggs. It was, that time that I spent with Trev, and Trev take me coming, wake up, like, let's go to the gym. You know what I'm saying? Like, he used to wake me up early. We used to go to St. John and work out. Like, Trev took me under. Like, he took me like a little brother. Like, it's my.
But look at the extension. Look at the extension. You get what I'm saying? So it all comes back full circle. It all comes back full circle. What he did for you, what his father was doing for him and his other brother, right? And Trey. All of those things kind of filtered down to us. I didn't have my father in my life coming up. And Diz played that role in a lot of our lives. And it wasn't just basketball. Him and his wife would just tell me how proud they are about the kind of person I've become. And when he came on the show, I told him, I said, I want to do some of the things you did for the community, not knowing that God would steer me in his direction, right? All of these things that kind of happened is because we was doing things that we love to do on a give back. And I don't care what you think about your career and how it didn't pan out. When they talk about great basketball players, and we just talk about the community. I'm not even going to talk about what the other ball players and all the ball players who came up here and gave you love. You are a hero. Just want to let you know that. You are a hero that's from our community, that people still look up to, and they can say, you know what? G did it, so can you.
Yeah.
So definitely salute to you, brother.
Yo, man, like I'm just thankful, man. Like any like I don't do this to get flowers, you know what I'm saying? But anytime, I'm just thankful to be able to be mentioned. Like that was my whole motivation for 2011. Like if I'm going out, I'm gonna put my stamp on it.
Right.
That's what I did. Like I'm just thankful, man. Like like I said, I went through that whole downtime of like trying to figure out who I wanted to be again, and like I had to get away from basketball. It took me like a year and a half, 2 years to start watching it again, just like to get that love back. I have it now. Like it don't hurt that the Knicks are good again. Like I've been watching it. Like that's like it, man.
Yo, G, I'm telling you, I went through, me coming back to basketball last year said a lot about just my individual growth because I did everything to try to escape the game. And we'll talk about that another time, but just my path and my journey, did everything to escape the game because I knew that I was more than just a basketball player, right? There was more to me than just being a dude who dribbled the basketball and just running away from those things, but how it brought me back full circle and allowed me to play of service, because that's what I look at this show as being of service to others and let others know that they are appreciated and will be appreciated in the years to come, even if they don't feel like it now, you know. And I know a lot of times us former ball players, and we don't get to that certain level. We don't make it to the A. We don't get drafted. We don't get to sit in that locker room. Yes, yes. Or if you spent 1 year in the league or 2 years, he was a bust. He didn't. My man, you know how hard it is to get there.
They don't. That's why. They don't. I never listen to that. Never listen to that. Ever. And if anything, that was the mentality. That mindset, that mentality is what it fueled me to be away from. Like I want to be away from it. Like positivity only. Like it's too. Life is hard enough. It's hard enough here. It's hard enough. Yeah. You got to listen to somebody saying you ain't good because you ain't ate the ultimate goal. You know what I mean? Guys make the ultimate goal. You know what type of natural, genetic, physical gifts you got to have in order to get there to that space. You know what I'm saying? That's the 0.0001% of all human beings playing in that league.
And not to mention the politics. You can be as good as you want to be and great and still deal with the politics and still don't make it. So it's a lot that people don't really understand.
And all of us, we all know somebody that was good enough to be there, to get to that space. But, you know, now I've gotten to this habit of when I see other ball players that I used to hoop with, I don't even bring up basketball. How you doing? How's what you up to now? Like, how's your life going? Like, you know, you got family, how's your kids? I ain't talking about ball.
Nah. Facts.
I don't know how it's weighing on their hearts. And I know how that feels. Because that post-basketball life and that identity crisis that a lot of guys go through is tough. I went through it. It's tough. It's tough. Because we have a basketball culture. And in New York, we surround ourselves with everybody that participates in that culture. All our friends, some of our family come from basketball families, lineage, people, everybody who hoops. So we surround ourselves with that, so all the conversations are going to be around it. So it's like the mental health of guys that used to hoop, that's in that stage of what am I going to do now is sensitive.
Look,
it's like being in a space where you're okay. Like my pops, I'm thankful that I actually have a father who was present in my life, who understood. He said, when I was out with my ankle, he said, if you ever play another day of basketball, he said, you went to the D-League. You weren't supposed to be there.
Facts.
Like you was not supposed to be there. But from a talent perspective, they looked at you and was like, yo, there's no question. He said, you know how much of an accomplishment that by itself, from a talent perspective, you belong in that space where you're considered to be an NBA player. Like on the path to being an NBA player, meaning that you were on the path to being one of the best players in the world. Like, so fact of the matter is you got there by what your gifts are, not by like nobody handed that to you. That's your gift. Take that and let's move on to the next stage of your life. But I wasn't ready. I was like, you know what? I want to play again just to get it out. I got to get my frustration out. I got to show basketball how angry I am at it. And I did it. And then when I walked away from it, I was like, okay, basketball gave me everything. It gave me education. It taught me how to learn for myself away from structured school. it taught me how to study, taught me how to approach things from different perspectives that other people aren't looking at to give me an advantage. Most importantly, basketball gave me the relationship that I had to give me a pass to Reebok, to meet my wife, to have my family, and to have a solid foundation for my kids. Like, it gave me everything. It gave me my second career.
Gave you another shot. That's right. That's right.
Another shot. And that's the thing. It fine-tuned all the skills that was already in me to tackle the next stage of my life. And Kobe Bryant, as far as basketball goes, and as far as like this overall, what he's accomplished in life, like I look at him like yo, his second act, he was laser focused on his second act.
Facts.
Basketball. I gave basketball everything. I accomplished what I accomplished. Now my second act. What else am I gonna give? How am I gonna contribute to basketball? So that's where I'm at.
And he did it. And he did it to 24, right? It's like one more than Jordan. Kobe's second act, the 24.
Second act, yeah.
Yeah.
Think about that. My man won an Oscar, made $250 million, and was like raising another savage on the basketball court. All that, and being a great dad at the same time. So I'm like, man, my family is everything. I'm trying to build as much as I can to be able to pour into them, pour into these kids, and mentor any kid that's close to me to help them get to where they need to get to. Then when it's all said and done, and when I get old and gray and my time comes, I just want to be like, you know what? I'm thankful that I had the time.
Chill out with that all and gray stuff, man. Chill out with that all and gray. I mess with you, G. Hey, listen, I want to get to the top 5 right now. Top five. All right? I want to know, who are the top 5 players you played against?
The toughest point guard I ever played against was Mel Tinsley.
Mel Tinsley, I need you on the show. We need to talk about why Steven Jackson snitched on you. The Malice in the Palace.
He ain't gonna remember playing against me because that was one of my first games playing in Kingston. I got my first game I got playing against. Like, he ain't gonna remember that, but still, like, Mel was great, yo. It was just something different.
He's another one who made his own way, right? There was no doors open for him. He had to make his own way. That's one.
I would say I'm gonna go with Junie and Mike.
Junie Sanders, Mike Campbell. Ron Artest.
And
these are New York City legends right here. Who?
It's a toss-up because I played against mind you, when I first started playing with X-Men, I'm playing against Junie and them was still playing so that unit that they used to play with United Brooklyn,
yes,
Sid and all them, I had to play against them. So it's a tough big straight. I play against straight and DP and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
I know.
He's not a true. He's more of a power forward, but I'm gonna go with DP, but I'm gonna put him at the 5 there in Philly.
Okay.
Just because that, and I played with him in the ABA, and he was on me about a lot of stuff, and I learned just the IQ was crazy, the basketball IQ was nuts. So I'm gonna say DP, and DP's New York City resume is crazy.
He's who? What happened?
Darren Phillip, New York City resume.
Definitely.
Not even to mention all the other.
Right.
So I'm gonna put DP on.
All right.
That's my top 5 there.
Top 5 right there. Top 5 is cool. All right. Top 5 players in New York City history from your perspective. No one else's. Your perspective.
First, I'm gonna go with number 1. I'm gonna say Kareem. Kareem is number 1. That's
Yeah, that's a very tough position.
That's tough.
When you are the New York City of Gods, it's like you can just pick one and be good.
I know. But the reason I'm gonna say, I don't feel like I'm gonna say this. I can't answer that question. I can't go. The reason being is that just because I've seen them play, I know they're not better than the past generation. So I'm not gonna touch that.
No, whoever. Listen. I phrase the question because I like to hear everybody different versions. Everybody version is different, and I tell people, who did you see play?
I'm not even gonna name nobody that I saw play. I'm gonna just say Kareem is that's the #1 best player ever. Then point guard, I saw Steph. I got a chance to see Steph as point guard in New York City. Point guard. So, and Steph was one of my favorite players to watch. So I'm gonna put Steph
for sure.
It's tough, man. It's tough.
So listen, I'll give you a little help, right? My starting five, it changes up every time, right? But I definitely have Kareem. I got Kareem. I got Pearl Washington. I have Rolando Blackman. I have Bernard King, and I have Connie Hawkins.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like
I didn't see. Listen, I never saw Connie Hawkins play. But what I'm saying
is we know what they bring to the table. We already know. So it makes no sense trying to add somebody in there just because I saw them play. Steph gets a pass. Obviously, Steph, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, accomplishment and all that stuff is up there. Right? He's in the
I could switch Bernard King with Chris Mullin. It's so many interchangeable parts. I could take Pearl Washington, move him out, and put Kenny Anderson in there.
That's what I'm saying. It's all perspective, right? So I'm not, like I said, I'm just let it slide. You already know it. I'm just let it slide. You already know it.
All right. Last one, G. You got to answer all five.
Gotcha.
I was going to mention one thing, but you wasn't in that era. So I'm not going to tell you, we're not going to talk about the verses. But I want to know, who are your top 5 MCs?
All right. I'm going Hove. Big. And this is just like all across the board or just to listen to?
Yeah, whatever. You're 5.
Pop. Listen to Fab is in my top 5, obviously, always. And Jada.
Facts. So now, this what I...
The last two that I mentioned, the catalog for both of them.
Oh, for sure. You ain't named no slouches.
Just to go and listen to all day, Fab and Jada all day.
So, this is what I want you to do, because we can come back next week after it happens. I want you to watch the verses that's coming up between KRS-One and Big Daddy Kane. Now, the reason why I say that is because those guys with Rakim, a few others, Coogee Rap, those guys taught all the guys who came after them how to rap. Right? And then, you have KRS-One, who's militant, educator. Then you got Kane, who's the smooth operator, educator, knowledgeable. So I think it's going to be, classic. Somebody's going to have to lose because you know how it goes. Versus, they're going to pick a winner.
But I feel like when versus, when you got two icons like that, like to think about with Snoop and DMX, right?
It's not going to be that.
No, I'm saying just think about it from a perspective of got two icons who got joints for days, and it's like you find yourself not treating it like a competition because you honoring two icons, and for them, Big Daddy Kane and KRS-One, you giving a history lesson on hip hop, and you letting everybody know where it come from. So it's like you honoring two guys. So it's verses, yeah, don't get me wrong, but teaching, like you honoring two icons in the same stage. Like you giving a gift. Like they the only two, and the guys and people who, our generation that know, your generation that was old enough to really understand the music back then, understand what was happening. Like that ain't a real, they ain't verses. They honoring. That's
Listen,
honorary thing.
Young brother, let me explain something to you.
For them, I know it's not.
I spent many hours and many days with Kane. Performance. I've been house. I'm telling you, I know how the mind works. KRS-One, one of his best friends. The reason why he never dissed KRS-One when KRS-One made The Bridge Is Over, because KRS-One was helping him move out of this house when he got his record deal. MC Shan didn't really mess with Kane, so Kane stayed out of it. So him and Chris is like this. But when it comes to being an MC and who wants to be reign supreme, I think we're going to see something special. We may see an impromptu battle for a verse. I don't want to guarantee it, but I'm just saying.
That's what I'm saying. So now, if we're going to make it real hip-hop, you got to go off script.
I think it's going to happen. I think it's KRS-One is known to freestyle off the top of the head and bring the crowd into his world. But I know Kane is going to pin something special for that night because of what Jada did. Jada set the precedence for how these verses are going to take off now, especially with the MC.
Right. So I want to see that. I want to see who don't want to see that. I want to see KRS-One go off the dome, and I want to see what Kane gonna bring to the table.
Yes.
We already know all the music we gonna party.
Yeah.
Time with the rock, but then get to that point where it's like, all right, now we don't let y'all have a good time listening to the music. Now we're gonna get at each other a little bit to really see, what it is after all these years.
That's what I'm saying. And what we'll do,
that I'm with.
We're gonna come back next week. We'll set up a day after the verses, and we just want to talk to. I'll bring a couple of more people in, and we'll talk about that.
Church, I love you, bro. We gotta talk, man. It's been a minute.
Who, Lee Church up here?
Yeah.
My man. Yeah, I need to get more. Yo, my brother, listen, I want to thank you and for coming on. Like I said, it's not gonna be our last time doing this. But I want to say, brother, I'm so proud of you. And I know your uncle is just elated right now, the fact that we're doing this. Right? I know he's like elated right now, the fact that me and you got to kick it and talk basketball and just reminisce about the great things that he's done for both of us, because he played a part in my life as well. During the very time when I was going through a lot of things, man, your uncle was there, man, and he supported me. So
everybody, right, man? That was his thing.
Yeah.
That was like his gift, man. Be there down with everybody else. So I know he'll be crazy proud right now. I get emotional to think about it from, every now and again. Like I just think about how much he would be just proud, straight up proud that I did it. I did exactly what we talked about. I stuck to the script, and I put my nose down, and I did what was needed. You know what I mean? So I'm just thankful, man. I'm blessed. And I'm just thankful that I had people like him that just planted that seed early. You know what I mean? I ain't deviate from the plan. I did exactly what I needed to do.
That's right. Proud of you, man. Yo, Lee Church, holla at me, man. Please, holla at me. Definitely need to get you up here, man. Sorry about that from last time, man. I appreciate you. Yo, listen, G, I'm going to holla at you, man. Thank you. Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, we got to come on and talk more.
Oh, no, listen, I tell you, this is going to be our first installment. You're going to get me through that 200 because we're going to work.
Listen, Amari's my man. So I know y'all came on to talk Knicks and all that. Listen, we got to get back. I got to get back on.
We're gonna make. Matter of fact, I'm gonna call Amari so we all come on next week.
Yeah, already.
No doubt. All right. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for joining us. Basketball Heads Live. Man, listen. Every once in a while, you come across someone like Greg Plummer. Now, like I told you, know his family for a very long time. But to see him come up and face all the challenges put in his way and overcoming. So that's what a lot of you young guys got to know. Nothing's going to be handed to you on a silver platter. Some things you're going to have to work for. And even when you work and get to that next plateau and when you think it's ready, then you got to deal with the politics. So it's a lot that comes with this game. If it don't break you, it's going to make you stronger. And hopefully you can help out the next generation like my guy Greg is doing. We come to that time, people. I want to say big rest in peace to my guy, Sully Robinson. Miss you, dog. Respect. And those my people out there, basketball land, thanks for joining us. Oh, yeah. Messiah, we definitely going to talk about that KRS-One Kane. Listen, I'm glad you guys joined us. I'm your host, Glenn Pooh Harding, and you've been watching Basketball Heads, the official home for New York City basketball. Peace. Peace.